Across the span of time, these men have marched bravely into their future. Men of grit and honor, selected by the best to be the best. Now, go men, go!
Ray Lewis on deck.
You ready?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are to step up and take a seat at this table? That's right. You are the best. Today, you take that next step into a new world, a new day. All that effort, you know that nobody can judge your effort except yourself. You have been waiting your whole life for right now.
You gonna know my name by the end of the night.
Become the men that you were meant to be.
Wow.
The eyes of a nation are on you.
Lights, big city going to my head. Bright lights, big city going to my head.
This night is about before and after, yesterday and tomorrow, what was and what will be. You made this happen for your family and for yourself. Now take it easy. Feel it.
Yeah, welcome to my city, big dreams, lights and dollars. This the big leagues, big homies, you out of college. Pull up with your family, the cameras and red carpets at last. All your life you work hard to get to the draft. Next stop the Super Bowl, next stop the Hall of Fame. It all starts when the commissioner calls your name. I wish you luck, love, prosperity, the best career. You are the brightest light, it all happens here.
Across the span of time, these men have marched bravely into their future. Men of grit and honor.
Stand up, take a bow. Tomorrow is never promised.
They gonna know my name.
You made it. You're in. And don't worry, you ain't got to find us. We'll find you. Rookies.
The whole world gonna know my name. The draft is on.
This is the 2012 NFL Draft presented by Bud Light.
Welcome, everybody, to New York City and one of the most famous entertainment venues in all the world, Radio City Music Hall. Come on inside, as they have since Christmas time, 1932. So almost 80 years ago. Some of the biggest acts ever, some of the biggest movies ever. 300 million people have come into Radio City Music Hall. And the next 3 days and evenings, we welcome football fans from all over here in New York and you out there here on ESPN as we get set for the 77th annual selection meeting of the National Football League, commonly known as the Draft. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Berman, along with the man that won the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks almost 10 years ago. John Gruden. And Mel Kiper for his 29th draft. I think they had Mel first, then the draft. Welcome back.
Great to be here, Boom.
Could be historic, couldn't it, with the quarterbacks going 1-2 for only the 5th time?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but we knew it a long time. A little bit like the Heisman Trophy, where it came down to luck versus Griffin. Tonight, it's Andrew Luck.
It's quite amazing. The Indianapolis Colts, and go about having some good luck. I mean, go back to 1998, Peyton Manning's there for the Colts. Now here we are 15 years later, it's Andrew Luck. Go back to 1983. The Baltimore Colts had John Elway. They decided to give him away to the Denver Broncos. But that Colts organization, great quarterbacks, it's amazing how they have fallen that #1 spot with the right guy on the board.
For this will be the 12th time in the last 15 years a quarterback goes #1 overall. We're not predicting it, and we'll get into it. Some of the results haven't been great, some have been outstanding, but you only have to look as far back as last year with Cam Newton, who came in with less of everybody agreeing, as they do on Luck and Griffin. And what did Cam Newton do? He blew the top off all the rookie records and everything else. So we shall see Commissioner Roger Goodell with the gavel to open things up.
Good evening. Welcome to prime time in the 2012 NFL Draft. This is an exciting night for our players, for our teams, and for you, the fans. The season begins tonight, so let's kick it off. The 2012 NFL Draft is officially open. The Indianapolis Colts are on the clock.
That means the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock at 2-14 last year after winning double-digit games every season because of the draft pick that they had that began this 12 of 15, number 1 overall in 1998, and that was Peyton Manning. In case you've been under a rock recently, Peyton Manning is on the Denver Broncos. The Colts waited a long time. They lost their first 13 games before they finally won a couple at the end. Bill Polian is with us. He's no longer the president and GM of the Colts. Much of the players that we all got to know through Super Bowls or certainly playoffs are gone. And Andrew Luck is going to be the symbol now of the new beginning of the Indianapolis Colts. And I guess if you were going to have a guy to symbol a new beginning, you'd tab him first, wouldn't you, Coach?
I don't think there's any question. There's nothing he can't do. He's got prototype size, athletic ability, great decision maker, one heck of a kid. The only thing I worry about is Andrew Luck getting into a new offense. This West Coast offense was pretty good for him at Stanford. He's going to have to learn from Bruce Arians, who just comes over from the Steelers. That'll be a challenge. And the Indianapolis Colts are not a very good football team. They don't have a supporting cast like Peyton Manning had. Peyton Manning had he had Marshall Faulk. He had Marvin Harrison, Ken Dilger, Pro Bowl left tackle, and Tarek Quinn. He's got his work cut out for him.
Offensively, the Indianapolis Colts right now resemble an expansion team on paper. You got a center, you got a left tackle. Tight end, nothing to speak of. Wide receiver Reggie Wayne brought back tail end of his career. Running back situation questionable. So for Andrew Luck, remember John Elway in 1983 struggled. Dan Marino, next to last pick in the first round, lit it up. Elway had a great career though. Andrew Luck may struggle, Griffin may do well, but Andrew Luck's going to be fine.
Ryan Grigson, the new GM, Chuck Pagano, the new coach, and maybe a new QB.
With the first pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Andrew Luck, quarterback, Stanford.
It's pretty much or assumed, and then for the last week or so, it's been known for sure that Andrew Luck, 31-7 at Stanford, certainly someone that commands all sorts of presence, someone who in 3 years threw for close to 10,000 yards, 82 TDs, 22 interceptions, and is a much better overall athlete than you would think. Is that fair to say, Mel?
No question about it. We think about what Cam Newton did in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers. Andrew Luck comes out last year, which he could have. He would have been the #1 pick for the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton may have been a Buffalo Bill. History, as we know, would have been rewritten. So when you think about Andrew Luck, that's how good he is. Best, in my opinion, at quarterback since John Elway in 1983. Would have gone ahead of Cam Newton last year. Now he's with a Colt team. That's to do a job. Ryan Grigson, the new GM, has got to build up that talent base around the quarterback. So his career resembles Peyton Manning, not Archie Manning, who never had the personnel around him to be the great quarterback he could have been. Look at Andrew Luck. You talk about the size, the cerebral approach. He has mobility. He has enough arm strength. People say he doesn't have this howitzer for an arm. Perfect mechanically throwing the football. Great work, bends that knee, throws the football. I think he can throw in all angles. Talk about his motion. He can alter that when he has to, when he's pressured. Tremendously accurate. He is deadly accurate in the red zone. Think about this. In the red zone, 73.8% completion percentage, 27. 0 interceptions. That's spectacular. David Shaw, head coach, said, I can't put enough on this kid's plate. He is ready mentally, physically for the NFL. A more mobile, more athletic Peyton Manning. He'll do his job. Will the Colts brass, for the Colts front office to do their job, building up that personnel around Andrew Luck. This kid, to me, as I said, the best since John Elway, 1983. And people say, well, go to Manning in 98. Manning had some critics. There were some in the league, the NFL, that thought Ryan Leaf was better. I had people in the league say to me his name was Peyton Jones, not Peyton Manning. It'd be a third-round pick. Nobody has criticized or said anything negative to me in the league about Andrew Luck. He is the consensus #1 guy, and no question the best to come around in a long, long time.
And you said on the pregame, if you will, Coach, right here, Andrew Luck, as impressive as we've seen.
He's
ready to go. Well, very fittingly, we go to the Bud Light Blue Room with a man that'll be wearing blue, and that is Andrew Luck with our Susie Colbert. Good evening, Susie.
Good evening, Chris. Andrew, how did the reality match the dream?
Oh, it was great. It was everything I've ever thought it would be. You know, I just feel so blessed, so fortunate to be in this situation, and, you know, can't wait to start with the Colts.
For something that was a done deal, that certainly was a long phone call. What was the gist of that?
Well, I think a lot of excitement, so you might as well, you know, talk to them and then get some feelings out.
What's the message to Colts fans?
You know, just hope for the best. We'll come in, work hard. I know there's a lot of great guys in the locker room already, and I feel so honored, you know, so grateful to be able to represent the city now and be a part of the team.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Susie, Andrew, thank you very much. And when we return, there's the next man whose name you will hear will be commercial free for the rest of the hour, thanks to Bud Light, GMC, and Nike. Back in New York with a Redskins pick in a moment.
Get the party started. Dial it. Pitbull together with Bud Light. Here we go.
Call Dave.
This is Dave.
Hey, just got off work. The conditions are looking pretty good.
With standard color touch radio system, Bluetooth connectivity, and backup camera, the 32 Highway MPG GMC Terrain. The only thing more amazing than its technology is what you can do with it. Lease this 2012 GMC Terrain for $269 a month. The 2012 Terrain from GMC.
This game is not fast. This game is faster. Strong is no longer strong. Fast is the new strong. Lungs are jet engines. End zones are scorched. The pocket is collapsing faster. The field just got shorter. The slow lose their lunch. The tortoise never wins. And if you're not faster, someone will let you know.
ESPN's coverage of the 2012 NFL Draft is commercial-free for the rest of the hour. Presented to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go. And in part by GMC, the official vehicle of the NFL. And Nike. Fast is faster.
Welcome back to New York, everybody. Andrew Luck has now been selected by the Colts. The Washington Redskins are now on the clock because this was a pick originally owned by St. Louis, but they swapped their ones. It cost the Redskins a 2 this year, a 1 next year, a 1 after that, but they get to do the following. Pick this man, as announced by Mr. Roger Goodell.
With the second pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Robert Griffin III, quarterback, Baylor.
certainly excitement, if you like that, is coming to the nation's capital for head coach Mike Shanahan, general manager Bruce Allen and the Skins, a team that won only 5 games last year, but interestingly enough, swept the Super Bowl champion Giants. The year before, they beat the Super Bowl champion Packers. I guess they just got to play championship teams, and Griffin is ready to do that. Will he solve the quarterback problem in year 3 for Mike Shanahan, a young man who was 23-17 as a starter at Baylor? But if you want excitement, plays on the move, and the Redskins need all sorts of that at quarterback, they've really been trying with Coach Shanahan, Donovan McNabb and Rex Grossman and John Beck. Well, now, perhaps, they hope it's all changed, Coach.
No question, and a lot of people don't realize how much pressure is on Robert Griffin. They gave up a lot, the Washington Redskins. I give them credit to go get this young man and address a position where they desperately need help. Remember, this kid runs 4.3 on AstroTurf or grass. I don't care, that's fast. He's a difference maker the way he runs and creates plays. He's a great kid. He's coming from an offense that is totally different than the one he's going to run in Washington. I have a lot of confidence that this is the move that could push the Redskins back into business.
John, I think what led to this was the frustration within that organization of beating the Giants twice this year, had nothing to show for it, beating the Green Bay Packers 2 years ago, eventual Super Bowl champion, nothing to show for it, in a division with Michael Vick, Tony Romo, and Eli Manning. You got to keep up. You're going to be in the cellar year in and year out, even though you have some pretty good personnel at other spots. Look at RG3. 6'2" and 3/8. I don't usually talk about height that often, but 28 of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL are 6'2" or taller. He needed to be over 6'2". He was. You watch him this year, light it up on the deep throws. That's Terrence Williams there. He's my #1 rated senior wide receiver going into this coming season. Talk about the red zone. 64.7%, 13 touchdowns, only 1 pick. John, you talked about the 4.3 speed. He has that hurdling background, more of a straight line guy, but a better pure passer coming out than Michael Vick was. Not the runner, the darter, the change of direction guy that Vick is, but Robert Griffin III can keep the chains moving. He can extend plays, and I'll tell you what, he's got some room. He can go 40, 50 yards for a touchdown in the NFL. Even in college he did it. He'll do it in the NFL as well. RG3 to me, the simplistic offense, that run and shoot type offense, John, you talked about. How quickly will Mike Shanahan adjust to suit what he does best, like Carolina did for Cam Newton, will be critical. Throwing in the much tighter windows, how will he handle that? That'll be important moving forward. And he did it Baylor this year. Had very good talent around him. We're seeing the highlights. We're seeing guys making plays around the quarterback. Aaron Scanaway, the running back, and a pretty good wide receiving core as well.
And let's reiterate, they gave up the ranch to go get Robert Griffin. Remember, they took Heath Schuler in the first round, Patrick Ramsey in the first round, Jason Campbell in the first round, second rounder for Donovan McNabb. That's how much they gave up to get Griffin. 3 1s and a 2, and he comes from a bubble screen, high percentage pass offense. I want to reiterate that. I've never seen more quick, high percentage passes than I've seen at Baylor. Quick screen, bubble screen to the bottom of the screen. Over 30 of those this year. And after they get tired of throwing the bubble screen, they're going to fake that bubble screen, watch the top of your screen, and they're going to throw the ball to the receiver that's blocking and completely fool the defense. Then after doing that for a couple of weeks, they're going to throw a bubble screen again to Kendall Wright at the bottom of the screen. And here comes the defense and another wide open score. And then with a game on the line against TCU, they're going to throw a bubble screen to Kendall Wright. He's going to throw it back to RG3. These are plays I don't see the Redskins running. The Baylor offense, as good as it was, is a different type of offense that he's going to learn in Washington.
Well, he's now learned what it's like to be in the spotlight in the NFL, because here he is, drafted 2nd overall. He's in the Bud Light Blue Room with our Susie Culver. Suze?
Robert, 3 generations. What does it mean to have Griffin III on a Washington Redskins jersey?
Oh, it means a lot. You know, it means a lot to my dad, you know, his dad who's passed away. So, you know, taking the Griffin name somewhere it's never been before, you know, I take pride in having that 3rd on the end of my name.
The Redskins gave up a whole lot to get you. You've always been a man with a plan. What's the plan?
You know, the plan is to go in day one and show the veterans that I'm there to work, not for show, You know, a lot of things you have to do in the league are business-like, but I want to show them that I'm all for them. I'm looking forward to winning football games and joining the team.
You're also a man who loves socks. Let's see what you've got in store for us tonight. And not only are they the colors of the Washington Redskins, but it's what your coach, Art Briles, always says. Don't just chase the dream, catch it, right?
Go catch that dream, because a lot of times when you chase something, you never catch it. So if you say, hey, I'm going to go catch my dream, you're already telling yourself that you're going to get it. And that's the message to all the kids out there.
Go get it. Boom.
All right, Susie, Robert, those look like the old Denver Broncos socks from the old AFL a little bit, don't they? Well, the more on the quarterbacks going 1-2 for only the 5th time in history, and do they all fare well? Well, yes and no. But the Cleveland Browns, in a trade shortly ago with the Minnesota Vikings, now are the number 3 pick in the draft. They have a pick later on, number 22 overall. They're on the clock. Morton, Adam, good evening.
Good evening, Boomer. And when you think about it, when you count the Rams trade with the Redskins, and now the Cleveland Browns have moved from 4 to 3 in that trade with the Minnesota Vikings, we've already had significant movement here at the start of this draft and the order of it. And it's not over with. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are going to make their pick, but they were not interested in Trent Richardson, so they still have Mo Claiborne, LSU cornerback, Matt Khalil, the USC tackle, as well as Justin Blackman sitting there. And so we're going to have more trades going forward, even though the Vikings are obviously going to make this pick right now. I think we're in for maybe 7 to 10 trades, Adam.
Well, Mort, it's going to be a busy first round here in the top 10 because Tampa Bay is going to talk to Jacksonville about trading up. Jacksonville wants to come up for Oklahoma State wide receiver Justin Blackman. The Buffalo Bills would like to come up for Matt Khalil if the Minnesota Vikings didn't pick him there. It could be very busy, Boom.
Well, so the action turns to curious, and now the Cleveland Browns. Well, let's see what happens, but you know why they made this move. Because this could be once every now and then you get a guy like this.
With the 3rd pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Trent Richardson, running back, Alabama.
So the Cleveland Browns, 4-12 a year ago, in a division where you gotta figure out a way to move the ball against the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals, all of whom made the playoffs. The Browns had a woeful offense. Poor Colt McCoy, the Peyton Hillis, that's a story unto itself. They couldn't run it, they couldn't throw it. You're gonna have bad weather, and this is a franchise that had the great Jim Brown. So why not go and get a running back who many feel is an Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson potential type, a unique running back at top. Those are big names. Do you think he's that good, Coach?
I really do. He's like a Marshawn Lynch with speed and elusiveness. The Cleveland Browns solved some major problems today. Richardson is good between the tackles. He's got a tremendous stiff arm, and he's an outstanding finisher. He set an Alabama record for all-purpose yardage, and that's saying something. Tremendous elusiveness, and every time you tackle him, it's a business decision. This weight room strength transfers to the football field. I don't know how many times he did the bench at the Combine, Mel, but it looked the part. Trent Richardson, over 50 catches in the last 2 seasons. He's an outstanding kickoff returner, and I like what he does without the ball. He pass protects. He does a lot of things that Pro Bowl backs do. He's going to be great in that North Division to give the Browns a runner that they've lacked for a while.
That's the thing, John. How do you justify in this new NFL, today's NFL, taking a running back this high? You do because of all the things he brings to the table. Think about the last 3 Super Bowl champions. You got a 4th-round pick, a couple 6th-round picks, a 7th-round pick, an undrafted free agent at running back, leading them to Super Bowl victories. But this kid can do it all. He'll be on the field all the time. He'll block, he'll catch, and he doesn't fumble, Boom. 1 fumble, John, since 2009. That was against Ole Miss. That's it. Ball security for this kid, phenomenal.
Here's the bigger question, and we need time to get into it. Has the game changed that much in 10 years? I'm not talking 25 years. In 10 years, whereas at running back is, you don't need that as much as you used to. Or when you get a guy like this, look, Mike Holmgren, who's the president of this team, had Sean Alexander the year the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl, from Alabama, by the way. But has the game changed in 2012 so much that running back is really overvalued at a number 3 pick overall, do you guys think?
Well, if you don't have a Trent Richardson. I mean, if you have a Trent Richardson, you're going to do what Trent Richardson can do, and that is keep you in normal down and distance situations. Not everybody has a back of this caliber. He dominated the SEC just like Cam Newton did last season.
John, you think about the teams that have won Super Bowls, and they had multiple backs that could get it done. You think about Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw. You think about when Reggie Bush was in New Orleans with Pierre Thomas, Green Bay with Ryan Grant, James Starks. This kid is one guy can do the workload of 3. He won't come off the field. He's kind of like a Steven Jackson in that regard.
Well, we shall see. So now the Vikings, who pick up a 4-5-7 just to move down 1, and now the Bud Light Fan Forum, we take a look. And a question, well, it's a question everybody in Minnesota and surrounding states might have. Can't wait till it comes on the screen. And there it is. Who should the Vikings take with the 4th overall pick from Grant Martin in Minneapolis? So look, we know the players. They could use a lot of things for young Christian Ponder. And remember, the Minnesota Vikings are a team with Adrian Peterson will not start the season on the field, suffering that ACL injury at the end of the season. They need a lot of help, don't they? All of a sudden, a team that a couple years ago was in the championship game, and now they're 3-13.
They also need help desperately in the secondary. They gave up 34 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions. The Chicago Bears just landed Brandon Marshall. Megatron in Detroit. Nobody solved him lately. They need a corner in the worst way. Antoine Winfield is 35 years old. I know they went out and signed Carr from the Baltimore Ravens. They got a corner from the Chicago Bears in free agency, but they're decimated at corner, and they better solve that issue as well. And Maurice Claiborne is a heck of a defender.
A lot of holes on the Minnesota Vikings, Sean. Think about the left tackle position, protecting Christian Ponder's blind side. Christian Ponder had some injury issues at Florida State. You got to keep up in that division with some outstanding quarterbacks. So the Maurice Claiborne argument is valid. You're going up against Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Jay Cutler. You got to have some corners that can get it done. You also think about wide receiver with Justin Blackman. They could use them. All I say about the Vikings is you got 3 guys. However they lined up on the board, that's how you take it. You take the highest rated guy of those 3 on your board.
And now, that, by the way, they have the most picks in the draft. They have 13 now with the trade that they made. Now, while we wait for Minnesota, the number 5 pick is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or is it Morton Adams?
Well, as Adam referenced a little bit ago, yes, the Buccaneers have made a trade with Jacksonville, moving up from 7 to 5. We've mentioned this before. Jaguars owner Shad Khan has wanted Justin Blackman. They didn't want to overpay for it. I don't think they did. And remember, this is a franchise that has really struggled getting a feature wide receiver. They have swung and missed on a lot of guys like Reggie Williams and Matt Jones, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll wait and see. It's not official who they pick, but they have made that trade with the Buccaneers, going 7 to 5.
And of course, Jacksonville now will take Justin Blackman. That sets up St. Louis to choose between Morris Claiborne and Fletcher Cox. And that leaves Tampa at number 7 with an extra 4th-round pick. Boom.
All right, well, it didn't take long for people to move around. And by the way, we'll do Minnesota first and then get to the Florida teams, all of whom will be drafting in the first 8, all of whom have new coaches. But now it's the Vikings' turn.
With the 4th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Matt Kalil, tackle, USC.
Well, once upon a time, this early in the draft, from the same school, oddly enough, that would be 1968, the Vikings drafted a young man by the name of Ron Yary, who became a Pro Bowl left tackle. Fran Tarkenton and Joe Kapp. They're hoping that he can be close. Matt Kalil.
Well, they really didn't have much of a choice. They lost both their guards, Herrera and Hutchinson. They need help at left tackle since McKinney left. But here's a scouting report on Kalil. He's an outstanding athlete. His combine was rare. He can really recover. If he ever gets in trouble, that athleticism bails him out. What's really impressive is the way this kid pulls and can really be a factor on toss sweeps and screen passes. The only thing we don't see enough of is power, particularly in the lower body. He's not stressed a lot on film at USC, where he's one-on-one against a great pass rusher. They do a lot of down blocking, gap blocking, safe protection, naked bootlegs. You never really see Matt Kalil in a stressed situation against a great rusher, but he's very athletic and is certainly a position of need for the Vikings.
And I think the fact that you're protecting the blind side at USC of Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley had a phenomenal year. He's going to be a high pick next season coming out of USC, and he didn't get touched coming off that blind side by any of the defensive ends that Matt Kalil went up against. If you go back to that Arizona State game, which USC lost, it was pressure coming from the other side, not against Matt Kalil. You look at this kid, 6'6.5". 305 pounds. You think about a kid who has a lot of experience, even though you're coming out early. He's got good bloodlines with Ryan Kalil, his brother, the center with the Carolina Panthers. Look at this kid, the punch, the footwork, balance and pass protection. Not a great bender. I think he's got to work on that. He'll get coached up in the NFL in that regard. Did 30 reps at the combine, so he has the kind of strength you're looking for. I didn't think he had the elite grade, the elite ability of some of the guys like Jonathan Ogden, Tony Baselli, Joe Thomas. You go back to Orlando Pace when he came out, even a Chris Samuels. But when you think about who's available this year, he was certainly one of the top players. And for a team that is in a division where you got to score points, and I think it came down to whether you take Kalil, do you take a Morris Claiborne, do you take a Blackman. The bottom line is they felt like, okay, we got 3 great quarterbacks in this division. We got to make Christian Ponder have a fighting chance. That's why they went for the left tackle over the cornerback, who you could have made a great argument to take Morris Claiborne out of LSU.
Of course, Kalil's brother Ryan, the starting center of the Carolina Panthers. Let me tell you quickly, Coach. Christian Ponder, knowing that at least half the season, no Adrian Peterson, can he be it for the Vikings in years forward, Tom?
I hope so. They desperately need their bell cow, Adrian Peterson, healthy and ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota doesn't look for a receiver as well. Michael Jenkins has been a disappointment, and Percy Harvin belongs in the slot. They need help in Minnesota. They're off to a good start tonight.
All right, so Minnesota has picked 4, and now we know the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the board because they traded up in-state with the Tampa Bay Bucks, who get the Jags' 4th round pick for the privilege of having the Jags move up 2 and the Bucks down 2. All the Florida teams have new coaches. All the Florida teams are picking in the top 8. So now here's the Jacksonville Jaguars. We just talked about Christian Ponder. Here are the Jags in year 2 with Blaine Gabbert as the starting quarterback. New ownership. You heard Morton Adam mention. Mike Mularkey is the new head coach. Had been the head coach some years back with the Buffalo Bills. Coming over, he was the offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons. They really have a team. They got a good defense in a lot of places. They have big-time trouble scoring points.
They need a receiver. Maurice Jones-Drew, 50% of their offense. That's unheard of. Their leading receiver last year was Mike Thomas. He had 44 catches. They went out and signed Laurent Robinson from the Cowboys. Nice addition. I'll be shocked if this isn't Justin Blackman, the great receiver out of Oklahoma State. They have to get some weapons for Blaine Gabbert.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars obviously had their man in mind when they moved up. And we are, you know what? It's pretty fast and furious here once the 2 quarterbacks said hello and put on their caps. Hold on to your hats.
Tampa Bay has traded the 5th pick to Jacksonville. With the 5th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Justin Blackman, wide receiver, Oklahoma State.
Well, that's Brandon Whedon's main go-to guy. Blackman, 40 touchdowns in a little more than 2 years. 40 touchdown receptions for Oklahoma State. And you guys both know him. Is he the A.J. Green or Julio Jones talent of a year ago who went this high in the draft? He's a little different. but he's a guy that the ball is near. You're not getting it out of his hands, right, Mel?
You're not, Boom. He's not to the level of A.J. Green and Julio Jones, not as physically gifted. He's 6'1", about 207 to 210. Ran a 4.48, which is faster than a lot of people in the league thought he would run. They were thinking 4.55 for Justin Blackmon. You look at the highlights of Justin Blackmon, you're talking about a kid who was about the team. He's a we, he's an us guy. He's not an I and a me. You see that in the NFL, a lot of these diva receivers. He is not that guy. Talked to Mike Gundy, head coach at Oklahoma State. He said, hey, Coach Dez Bryant, Coach Justin Blackmon, Ryan has all the ability and all the talent you talk about. This kid was a little bit more complete. He'll block, he'll be a decoy, he'll do all the little things necessary. He'll catch the ball, big, strong hands. Justin Blackmon has. You'll give it a guy who does all the things you need from a route running standpoint. I never saw him get caught from behind. People were saying, well, he's a 4.6 guy, 4.55 with the pads on. He didn't get caught from behind. Then he ran that 4.48, which I think surprised a lot of people in the NFL. He'll be the power forward when he has to. He's certainly a guy that Brandon Weeden raved about through the draft process. That was his go-to option for Brandon Weeden. Keep in mind, Brandon Weeden's like a veteran NFL quarterback, so I think he knows who the big-time receiver is and isn't. He had a lot of confidence in this kid, made a ton of big catches, 111 catches as a junior, 121 catches as a senior. Guys, that's productivity.
They haven't had a receiver in Jacksonville like this since Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell hung up their cleats. Justin Blackmon is a go-to receiver. He did it in clutch situations, third down, red zone, 2 minute. Everybody in the country knew they had to stop Justin Blackmon. Couldn't do it. He can run after the catch. He's been consistently productive, 14 straight 100-yard games. The Jaguars have some balance now in their offense. They can hand it to Jones-Drew and stick it in his gut and pull it out of there on a play-action pass and throw it to somebody that can make a play. I like this pick a lot, and I like the guts they showed moving up to get their man.
I think the St. Louis Rams got to be sitting there being a little disappointed because they thought when they made that move going from 2 to 6, we'll get Sam Bradford, Justin Blackmon. Didn't happen.
Well, Minnesota was due to pick third. They did not. Cleveland was due to pick fourth. They did not. Tampa Bay was due to pick fifth. They did not. But now St. Louis is due to pick sixth. Morton Adam, don't tell me again.
Boomer, and the Rams will not pick six because the Dallas Cowboys have traded into that spot, and it's pretty obvious when you think about the Cowboys' needs. They need more defensive backs. They signed Brandon Carr as a free agent, but here is Mo Claiborne sitting there. You have to believe that's going to be their guy. And why so many trades in the top 10? The rookie wage constraints that were negotiated in that new collective bargaining agreement a year ago. This time a year ago, we were in a lockout. This is the result of that.
And more, you're going to see a lot more trades. We see Dallas get its cornerback, an LSU cornerback, Morris Claiborne. Tampa Bay now sitting at 7. Getting the player that it intended to take all along. Alabama safety Mark Barron looks like he's going to be a quarterback for Greg Schiano's defense. The Buccaneers were hoping that Dallas wouldn't take Barron. Barron looks like he'll be there for the Buccaneers at number 7, and a wild first round continues, Boom.
Well, first round, we're only 6. We haven't even had the 6th pick yet. My goodness, this is buckle your seatbelts advertising. Now, we have Ed Werder in Dallas. We'll go to him very shortly. So all of a sudden, the Dallas Cowboys, a team that, well, in the NFC East a year ago, 9-7 won it with the Giants. So here are the Cowboys, the team that could have won it, yet they blew double-digit leads repeatedly last season and fell back and could not get it done. They've made changes. One of the guys who was, you suggest it's Claiborne. You know, Newman is gone. He's moved on. So the Dallas Cowboys also making a statement here in round number 1. So all that draft list that you have at home of the order that, you know, maybe in the paper this morning you had, and okay, who's picking 4th and 5th, it's throw it out. Because apparently that's old news.
St. Louis has traded the 6th pick to Dallas. With the 6th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Morris Claiborne, defensive back, LSU.
So the Dallas Cowboys 8-8 a year ago, the Cowboys start to rebuild the back part of their defense that, as we said, blew some double-digit leads, and they went 1-4 down the stretch after a 7-4 start to finish 8-8.
You add a Brandon Carr, you bring him in free agency for the Kansas City Chiefs, that helps you at the one cornerback spot. You have Mike Jenkins, who's been up and down. Now all of a sudden you get Morris Claiborne, a cornerback that is going to be expected in coverage to be Darrelle Revis-like. Will he? We'll see. But I can tell you what, last 10 to 12 years, best ball skills I've ever seen in a cornerback. He's like a wide receiver out there. Great anticipation, great awareness, tremendous hands. This kid gets a chance to get the turnover. He'll take advantage of it. He has kick return ability. So you talk about after the interception, he can make you pay as well. Tackling-wise, we talked about a little inconsistency there, but he is a rough, tough, aggressive kid. He'll make some plays in that area as well. But what he's going to get paid to do is cover, match up, lock down, and be like Revis. There's only one Darrelle Revis in this league. There's not two shutdown guys, there's just one. And in a pass-happy league, you had a Brandon Carr. Now you get Claiborne opposite him with the Dallas Cowboys. All of a sudden, you got something. Now, he's not Patrick Peterson. He's not that special talent. Here he is returning a kickoff, doing a good job there. He's not electrifying, though. He's not special in that area like Patrick Peterson is. But as a pure corner, fundamentally, you could argue he's a little bit better than Patrick Peterson was coming out of LSU.
Look, 11 interceptions in 2 years, the Jim Thorpe Award winner. There are a couple concerns I have in Claiborne. But what a pickup for the Cowboys. In Rob Ryan's defense, we know they like to play pressure, pack fronts, and dogs and blitzes, and they love one-on-one coverage. Claiborne's a guy that can take your best receiver and shadow him across the field. But I would like to see him use his long arms more. He plays from recovery a lot. He carries his arms low. Watch him at the top of the screen. No reroute, no jam on these wide receivers. He needs to do a better job using those long arms as a weapon. And I want to see him become an elite tackler to be a great one in the NFL. He was selective in his tackling. He missed some tackles that I think he needs to be held accountable for. He's got to make these plays in the open field if you're playing one-on-one coverage. And I think Morris Claiborne can do it, but he has been inconsistent. When you're the unblocked corner in certain formations, you have to sift through the traffic and make these tackles. Those are the two things I'd like to see him do to become an elite corner. Use his hands more in press coverage and become a more sure tackler.
Well, they're excited in Dallas for sure, and to prove that, we have a Bud Light team report now with our Ed Werder at the Cowboys headquarters. Ed, good evening.
Hey, Boomer, you know, something about this pick. I was told by one Cowboys coach who said, you know what, the best way to make Tony Romo a better quarterback is to fix our problems on defense, and that's what this move is really all about. First day of free agency, they spent $50 million to get Kansas City cornerback Brandon Carr, and now they add Claiborne. They still have former first-round pick Mike Jenkins, who's in the final year of his contract, so this ensures stability at a key position in Rob Ryan's defense for years to come, and it's a classic, Boomer. Jerry Jones move. Only 6 times in his 24 years of running the Cowboys draft has he failed to make a trade involving his first-round pick.
Yep, so the Dallas Cowboys figuring, hey, look, we can't put up with this anymore. We got the big entertainment house. We got the players walking through the fans. We got all sorts. We had Tony Romo. I mean, and that's a fair thing. People forget Tony Romo threw for 4,000 yards. He was as good as he's ever been, probably better. You agree with that last year, Coach?
I do, and they also lost 4 games in the fourth quarter where they had a double-digit lead. That comes down to just making plays in the secondary, getting Carr, getting Claiborne. That's a big, big improvement.
And they got a draft. I mean, you still got a lot of rounds to go, and they got to get a safety. I think they're aware of that. You maybe need another defensive lineman in that scheme. But overall, I think when you get a cornerback with that kind of ability, and you've added a Brandon Carr, who's a nice player for the Kansas City Chiefs, at least you've done a lot of things already, and we got, like I say, a lot of rounds to go in this draft.
So again, St. Louis, remember they moved back with the Redskins, a while ago. St. Louis and Jeff Fisher, they're acquiring picks left and right. They get a 2 here from Dallas. And, of course, we'll hear from St. Louis a little bit later on. And so now, picking 7th is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that, well, you still live in Tampa, that you're certainly aware of. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like every other team in Florida with a new head coach. Greg Schiano, who coached not far from Radio City Music Hall at Rutgers, comes over as the new head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks, a team that'll have Rondé Barber again for the next game he plays, I think it's number 200 in a row there at corner, which is unbelievable. But a Tampa Bay Buck team that lost after winning 10 games a year ago, went on a skid that didn't see them win a game to the middle of October. So they could use just about everything and a whole new coaching staff they have.
Well, they particularly need help on defense. Worst defensive performance in the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers statistically. They need help at linebacker. Luke Kuechly from Boston College, maybe Mark Barron, the safety from Alabama guy I really like. One of those two players could give the Buccaneers help where they desperately need it.
They went out and they got some guys in free agency to help out Josh Freeman on offense. You had a Vincent Jackson, you had a Carl Nix on the offensive line. Jackson, a wide receiver, has averaged 17.2 yards a catch during his career. Nix allows them to move Jeremy Zuta inside to that center position. You think about defensively, though, they need Gerald McCoy to step it up at defensive tackle, John. He was supposed to be in the league with Ndamukong Suh. That hasn't happened. McCoy needs to step forward and be a dominant defensive tackle. And I agree with you. Mark Barron's a guy who's going to have a big impact in the NFL.
Well, they lost their last 10. They're outscored by 207 points. You mentioned they've spent some big bucks, as you point out. The big receiver Jackson, the guard Nix. They're hoping, and they need to sell tickets. I mean, that's another thing. Not every team sells out. And this is one, like a Jacksonville, that they need to spark some excitement. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers begin anew 10 seasons after someone won a Super Bowl with them. I don't really remember, but it was 2002. I don't really recall that, but you might. Here's what they're doing in 2012.
With the 7th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Mark Barron, defensive back, Alabama.
Well, you talk defense and you talk about an enforcer at safety, right, John and Mel? A different sort of safety, one of those that, yeah, you can pass defend, but you better be careful when you run the ball between the tackles against him.
Yeah, this isn't Mark Barron. This is the Red Baron. This kid flies around and hits anything that wiggles. I love the way he comes down in the alley and can really break down and make difficult tackles. He can punish you. He can play linebacker in the box in their sub package. I've seen him lead the SEC in interceptions as a sophomore in 2009. Two-time captain of the national champions, so you know he has great leadership. Been developed under Nick Saban, so you see NFL defenses, NFL concepts and coverages in every film. But he has tremendous range, tremendous leadership, and he's got that size I like. He's one of those old-fashioned Denver Broncos safeties, Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater, that can do it all, and he's also a bonus on special teams. But Tampa Bay needed him, Mel. 28 runs the Buccaneers gave up of 20 yards or more last year. He'll eliminate a lot of those.
And the misnomer about Mark Barron is he's an in-the-box guy. He's a little questionable in coverage. His strength is in coverage. He can match up. He can man up. Running back, tight end, slot guy. He did it in Nick Saban's team. 12 career interceptions, former running back in high school. I'll tell you, he can flip his hips. Smooth, athletic kid. Don't think for a minute he's going to be a liability in coverage. That'll be his strength. He'll also be a guy who'll tackle well. The nickel linebacker, they use him as well in that scheme. This kid is prepared to upgrade a Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary.
And so the top 7 picks, 2 have come from the national champion Crimson Tide of Alabama. And now the Miami Dolphins, cross-state rival of the Bucs, are on the clock. Will they tab the 3rd quarterback in the draft, Ryan Tannehill? Will this be his time from Texas A&M? He started his career as a wide receiver. Actually played more games there at Texas A&M. His first 30 games he played there, and with some good production. And of course, a year and a half ago became the starting quarterback, started 19 games there. Will this be the chance for Miami to go for a quarterback? Miami also starting anew. Remember, Tony Sperano was fired in the middle of the season. Joe Philbin, who was the offensive coordinator with Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback. Mike McCarthy, head coach of Green Bay, the new head coach. They have David Garrard, who hadn't played for a year. They signed him. They have Matt Moore, who won some games last year. They have him. The Brandon Marshall is gone. Offense and quarterback they need. Is this too high? Should Miami do this? What do you guys
Well, I'll say this. I thought Ryan Tannehill, to me, was a late 1, early 2 during the year. I didn't put him in my top 25 till about 3 weeks ago when you knew he was 100% coming back from a foot injury he sustained in January. Moved him to 18. This is top 10 for Miami. But I'll say this. Mike Sherman coached him. Joe Philbin's the quarterback guru, developed Aaron Rodgers and Matt Flynn. If you're a GM, Jeff Ireland, don't you trust Mike Sherman and Joe Philbin to make that call?
You've had 10 offensive coordinators since 2000. They've had about 16 different quarterbacks. Now, Mike Sherman coached Tannehill last year and the year before at Texas A&M. Matt Moore is the current quarterback. So if Tannehill isn't picked here by Miami, that's telling us all something that maybe Tannehill's not ready to be a first-rounder. Miami, I'd be shocked if they don't take a run at Tannehill here since they have their former coach, Mike Sherman, in place, running an offense that this kid can continue to develop in.
And think about Miami. Since 1983 when they got Dan Marino, I mean, it's been a horror show in terms of the quarterback position in a lot of years. Pass on Matt Ryan, didn't get RG3, didn't get Peyton Manning. Now here's Tannehill sitting there. I think, as John said, this is a red flag moving forward if your old coach passes on you. And think about him. He needs time. Now you got a quarterback in Matt Moore you can sit behind for a year or two.
We'll see.
With the 8th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Ryan Tannehill, quarterback, Texas A&M.
Three quarterbacks in the top 8 for the first time in the 21st century. It happened in '99 when Couch McNabb and Achilles Smith went 1, 2, 3. So we haven't had to wait very long to wonder if Miami will try to get some answers at that quarterback position. Ryan Tannehill on the orange carpet now for the Dolphins.
Well, you think about Ryan Tannehill, wide receiver in 30 games, quarterback in 19 games. This has never happened. Top 10 pick for a guy who was a position change, and a quarterback, he was a wide receiver while the other guy was playing quarterback, wasn't even drafted. So this is unprecedented this high in the draft for an inexperienced quarterback like Tannehill at the major college level, who also had some struggles against big-time opponents this past year. You say, okay, then why is he a top 10 pick? What did they see, Miami and Ryan Tannehill? First of all, ideal size, strong arm, very athletic, very competitive, and very smart. You watch Ryan Tannehill at Texas A&M, you see his size, his computer numbers, they're of a top 10 pick. I think when you look at the way he threw on the move, when he had to move out of that pocket, he did a nice job. Watch him here. Extends the play, accurate throw down the field. I think when you watched him in the games against Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, 9 interceptions in those games. Game management's an issue. Forces the ball into coverage. Questionable reads. Too many ill-advised throws. What he's got to do, hey, throw the ball away. Don't force the ball. Let the fight another day. I think that's where he's talking about running a little hot and cold, leaves you scratching your heads with some of his decisions. Basically needs a lot of work. In Miami, Mike Sherman will develop him. He'll sit behind either Matt Moore or David Garrard. And in a second year, third year, when they think he's ready, then we'll see what Ryan Tannehill has to offer.
Well, just before the draft started, we heard Ryan with Suzy Kolber saying, I'm prepared to wait a long time. I'm hoping it's not that long. Now we go back to the Bud Light Blue Room. Where's Suzy? He has his answer.
And he was braced for the worst. What was that phone call like?
It was awesome. You know, it's everything I expected and more. Such a humbling experience, but yet so exciting at the same time.
You just said hot off the presses, and it's something new they're doing this year. What's it like to see your name on that jersey?
And it takes my breath away. You know, it's to see my name on the back of an NFL jersey in an organization like the Miami Dolphins, I couldn't be more excited.
You had told me a while ago it would be a dream to walk across this stage. What was it like?
Everything I expected, probably more than I expected. You know, just hearing my name called, you know, getting the phone call from the Dolphins, walking across and shaking the commissioner's hand. It's a moment of a lifetime.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill is a great kid. He's got a huge upside. And I think we'd agree, Mel, he just needs to tighten up his decision-making. And that's what hurt him this year. He tried to do too much. You said it perfectly. They dropped over 60 passes, Texas A&M. And at times, Tannehill tried to do too much, forcing the football when he got behind and down in distance. And it wasn't just in 1 week. It happened 3 or 4 times. He needs to find a way to play his best football in a 2-minute drill like he did in this situation against Arkansas. And when you go on the road and play against a good football team, usually your quarterback is going to be the guy that has to bail you out. Tannehill didn't get that done a couple times this season like he did at Oklahoma, and I thought he should have stuck this throw in there to the tight end and beat Kansas State. I like this pick by Miami. I really like it because Mike Sherman, Ryan Tannehill continue to work together. They're going to continue to make progress, and Miami needs a quarterback to hit because it's been a long time since Dan Marino last threw a completion.
That's correct. Except in a couple of commercials here and there. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers, now I'm not putting on Tannehill that he does what Cam Newton did last year, because nobody has. But we saw a team drafted first overall last year, Cam Newton, and even though they, did they upset a lot of top teams? No, they were in so many games, and they were must-see TV with Cam Newton with 4,000 yards and 700 yards rushing the football, and they went 6-10, and now Carolina says, we got some offense. We got Cam Newton, we can run, we got Steve Smith. What about our defense?
With the 9th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Luke Kuechly, linebacker, Boston College.
Well, what about our defense? How about a guy that I think, what was he, within about 12 or 13 tackles in 3 years of playing football, of having the most tackles ever in college football? I mean, that's crazy.
Boom, 532 career tackles. That's amazing. 35 tackles for loss the last 3 years. 7 career interceptions, so you can do it in coverage as well. Tackling machine, read reactability, second to none. A complete middle linebacker, that throwback, that Mike man that you want. Bottom line is, productive in college. Say, well, what are his workout numbers going to be? His workout numbers were reminiscent of Brian Urlacher's when he came out of New Mexico and became a Chicago Bear. 6'3 1/4, got his weight up from about 230 to 242, ran a 4.5, did 27 reps at a 38 vertical. When you combine the production with the great workout, it's easy to see why Luke Kuechly was one of the top 10 players in this draft.
I like the Carolina Panthers getting Kuechly to go with John Beeson, who's an outstanding weak side linebacker who was hurt last year. They also get Thomas Davis back. Their linebacking core with Kuechly in the middle is very unique now in the NFC South. Really like Kuechly.
You think about Ron Rivera, linebacker at Cal, linebacker in the NFL with the Bears, and he brings in Luke Kuechly. And think about this football team. Yeah, they need a defensive tackle. They need a corner as well. But now you got the lead of your defense in Luke Kuechly, coming in out of Boston College, ready to play, rather be an impact player. The guy gets coverage ability was something that goes underrated, boom. 7 interceptions, did a real good job in that area as well.
Well, he's a unique player. I mean, that's, again, a, quote, devalued position where we've seen the running back go 3, we've seen the safety go 7, and we've seen an inside linebacker go 9. So if that's devalue, maybe I'm looking at the wrong scale, because these are all top 10 players. They're unique players. Now, we're going to do a little bit of recap because just about everybody is drafting where you didn't think they would be drafting. Our GMC never say never. Quarterback selected 1 and 2 in the same draft. It's happened this year for the 5th time. Jim Plunkett, they were the Boston Patriots for about 2 more months after they drafted him 1, and Archie Manning was 2 in 71. Actually, Dan Pastorini went 3 that year. Then Drew Bledsoe went 1 to the New England Patriots. Rick Meyer had a good rookie year, actually, with Seattle 2 in 1993. 98, the much talked about Peyton Manning to Indy, Hall of Fame career, still playing. Ryan Leaf, the other end of the spectrum, San Diego Chargers. 1999, Tim Couch, not much success, 1 Cleveland. Donovan McNabb, a wonderful career, Philadelphia. By the way, Akili Smith went 3. And then, of course, today, we had Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin go 1-2. So you can see not everything was automatic in that list, although some of them, like Jim Plunkett, we go a long time ago, with the Patriots, not so much because they weren't a very good team while he was there. But with the Raiders, he won a couple of Super Bowls. So sometimes you have to see how it turns out. Now, Carolina did Kuechly, the Buffalo Bills are on the clock. The Buffalo Bills made almost as much of a splash in the offseason as any team. The Mario Williams to rush the passer. Anderson, Mark Anderson, they signed from the Patriots to rush the passer. Now what? I think they go
with the
back
10th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills select Stephon Gilmore, defensive back, South Carolina.
Well, look, they now have a front wall. If it all works out with Dave Wannstedt, the new defensive coordinator for Chan Gailey, the Bills, who began 5-2 but ended 1-8 to finish 6-10. Mario Williams, Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, number 1 pick last year of the Bills, and Mark Anderson. They got pretty good linebackers, and now they put him, their new corner Gilmore, with some names you might know who might be at the back half of what we've seen from them. McKelvin, Drayton Florence, McGee, but they're in a division with New England. You need more than 2 or 3 guys to defend the pass, and now you can rush the passer. What kind of player will Gilmore be for the Buffalo Bills?
I really like this kid, and he's an outstanding athlete, which he proved at the combine and at his workout day. Inside of 4.4, 3.94 short shuttle, Mel, 6.61 in the 3-cone. He played his best football, I think, at South Carolina 2 years ago when he led the Gamecocks in tackles. He is a wrecking machine coming off the edge on those corner blitz. I think he needs some work in his back pedal and his fundamentals as a pure cover guy. But Gilmore, you'll see him playing wildcat quarterback. He is a real all-purpose football player that'll help him in the kicking game. He'll help him inside in their nickel, and he's good enough to play outside and become a very good physical press corner.
John, you said it. You talk about a guy like Stephon Gilmore coming in, smart kid, battle-tested. Well, he's a junior. Well, 3 years he started, was a high school quarterback. Coming into South Carolina, ended up with 181 career tackles. Look at him, 6 foot and a half, about 192 pounds. Just fluid enough in coverage. A little stiff, but just fluid enough to be able to hold up and get the job done out there in coverage. Excelled in the classroom and on the gridiron as well. Guy will tackle. Intense competitor. You talk about a guy in coverage, made plays. But I'll tell you what, he made his mark in terms of, you talk about Mo Claiborne, maybe to improve in that area. Cut down the field, made plays in coverage, but he will attack. He will be like a safety in the box at the cornerback position. Come up, he'll tackle well, finishes plays, competes day in and day out in practice. Nailed the draft process. Saw about on the field, great character, then running a 4.4, which was faster than people thought at the combine, vertical 36 inches. When you put it all together, he really moved ahead late in the process ahead of Drake Kirkpatrick from Alabama. It kind of was locked in. Well, Kirkpatrick will go right behind Claiborne. Stephon Gilmore said, not so fast. He moved out of Kirkpatrick, then ascended in to the early portion of the first round.
Buffalo Bills have a lot to look forward to this coming season. They finally beat the Patriots for the first time in about 80 games last year. And they have a lot. We've said to rebuild the defense. Jackson comes back healthy as the running back. Ryan Fitzpatrick played hurt half the year with ribs. They have a lot of potential to be an uprising team. Now, a year removed, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are next on the clock, they were one of those teams that came from nowhere, surprised everybody, beat San Diego on that opening Monday night and were never headed, and they won the division. A year ago, not the same result. The Kansas City Chiefs, who were picking 11th, fell to 7-9. Todd Haley got fired toward the end of the season. Romeo Cornell took over. Romeo won 2 of his 3 games, including the only team in the regular season to beat the Green Bay Packers. Romeo, now the full-time coach, gets another shot. Remember, he was head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And so the Kansas City Chiefs, who also, like Buffalo, had many of their key players injured. Maybe a year removed, they're a team that jumps back in it because of who's coming back and maybe who they're about to pick.
Yeah, if you told me I could have Jamal Charles and Eric Berry and Tony Moeaki and Castle back healthy, I'd say I don't even need to draft. That's how good those players are and how much they missed them. But I think Romeo Crennel is going to be looking at nose tackle right here on his defense. Kelly Gregg, a key component in that 3-4 defense, retired. Dontari Poe, your guy from Memphis, Mel. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a big man to help him on defense.
Well, if that's the one, there's a lot of mixed opinion there. However, well, maybe they're still deciding. Maybe they're reading Edgar Allan Poe's short stories. I don't know. There are some good ones, you know.
He's got a lot of potential.
See, now if I had said that, I'd get ripped for about 3 years. You can go with it. You're the rising star.
I learned quick from you, Chris.
Well, we'll see what the Chiefs do a year removed from the surprise winners of the AFC West.
With the 11th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Dontari Poe, nose tackle, Memphis.
Well, look, Romeo Crennel, defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick, defensive coordinator, defensive coach with Coach Parcells. A big nose is part of what they need. Now, Dontari Poe at Memphis, Mel and John explained to everybody that, to quote Edgar Allan Poe, maybe you might be drinking a cask of Amontillado, depending on how he plays.
Look, tremendous strength and size. His combine number is amazing. He's athletic. I've seen him drop into coverage on zone blitzes. Sideline to sideline range when he turns it on is impressive for a big man. But he does not dominate marginal competition enough for the two eyes I have, Mel. A very low factor grade. There are games, I'm watching the Central Florida game, the Southern Miss game. I'm still waiting for Poe to unleash the fury and that God-given talent that he has. He's going to the right place because he's going to meet Romeo Crennel, one of the premier defensive line coaches that have ever coached in this league. And if Dontari Poe buys into it and really buys what Romeo Crennel is selling, the Kansas City Chiefs got a rare physical specimen to anchor this 3-4 defense.
Think about this, John. You think about freakish talent, unbelievable talent. He has it. Haloti Ngata type numbers, 6'3.5", 345 pounds. This kid ran a 4.87. That's faster than some linebackers. You talk about 44 reps. That's amazing. 29.5 vertical. The production you alluded to, John, wasn't there on a game-to-game basis. No doubt about that. But he flashed. Occasional penetration. He showed it. 14.5 tackles for loss last 2 years. That's not bad. Played on a team that was out of games early, okay? Not competitive. You think about rotation in the NFL. Won't wear down. You saw that happen with him in some games as well. I think when he's coached up, you hope you can push the right buttons and motivate Dontari Poe to be the player that he's capable of. Haloti Ngata numbers should result in a Haloti Ngata type performance. That wasn't the case. He only had half the tackles. Not his final year at Oregon, Poe's final year at Memphis. Half the tackles for Poe, yet equal ability and talent. John said it, underachiever, needs to take his performance to another level. Kansas City motivate him to do it.
If he connects, it's a long home run. If he doesn't connect, it's a big whiff.
You watch the kid, and I'll tell you what, John's right. There are some games where he's quiet, and he shouldn't be. But there are also some games where he flashes, and you watch him here. 6'3.5", 345 pounds. He's the kind of guy, and people say, well, he's going to be a nose tackle. I thought he was better suited to be a 4-3 defensive tackle. We'll see about nose tackle in Kansas City. He's got to get stouter. He's got to get more of an anchor. He's got to be able to be the guy who can take on at center guard and free up those linebackers. He's got to develop a mean streak, something I didn't see at Memphis. But the bottom line with this kid, rare talent. You don't see many guys over the last X amount of years coming out outside of Haloti Ngata that had this type of ability and potential on paper. He flashed it, as I said. Done about some 14.5 tackles for loss. He got the job done on certain instances in certain games, John, to make you believe that, hey, once he's in the NFL, he's coached up, and then he's paid to play the game of football as a professional, that Dontari Poe realizes all that God-given talent and maximizes his ability at the pro level.
Well, heaven forbid, this has been like satellite radio where you just turn on the station and no breaks. So after a wild first 11 picks here at Radio City Music Hall in the 77th NFL Draft, we return with pick number 12. Will there be another trade? There's been a lot already. We'll be back to New York in a moment.
The clue should be here. Anything?
Over here. I found it.
It's an audio file.
Hey guys, the next challenge. Coordinates are north of...
OnStar, this is Pam.
Got some coordinates for you?
Downloading directions now.
32 highway MPG rated GMC terrain. The only thing more amazing than its technology
a picture file
is what you can do with it. The 2012 Terrain from GMC.
In a war, if you give everything you have, that makes you an Avenger.
I'm bringing the party to you.
It's gonna be fun.
Rated PG-13 in theaters and IMAX 3D May 4th.
Welcome back to the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light.
Welcome back, everybody, to pick number 12. And Mel, now who?
Well, you got Melvin Ingram, a guy that can do a lot of things. He can get after the quarterback. You can play him as a down defensive end, play him more his feet, outside linebacker, maybe even middle linebacker. DeCastro, the best pure guard, come out in a long time, maybe since Steve Hutchinson. Michael Floyd, think about what he produced this year, 100 catches at Notre Dame with mediocre quarterback play. Then you get a couple offensive linemen, Reef the left tackle, Glenn either a right tackle or a guard.
Well, and why shouldn't we be surprised that Andy Reid has made a move in the first round? They traded up. I think this is the 5th time in his 14 years as head coach. Now, you saw all those names. They trade with the Seahawks. They give him a 4 and a 6 to move up 3 spots. I think the Eagles think that big Fletcher Cox is the stud on the defensive line, if that's the reason that they traded up. We'll see.
Seattle has traded the 12th pick to Philadelphia. With the 12th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Fletcher Cox, defensive tackle, Mississippi State.
Well, another SEC player for starters, 5 of the first 12. But Fletcher Cox with Philly, they're always, Andy Reid, always looking for offensive and defensive linemen until he gets it right.
Well, you get great pressure off the edge with the Philadelphia Eagles move. Jason Babin, you think about Trent Cole. Now all of a sudden you need up at that defensive tackle spot to solidify that front 4. Fletcher Cox, 6'4", 298. Think about this past year. He got off to a slow start. You watched him early, you didn't like him. Defensive tackle Fletcher Cox not making plays, suspended for the season opener, violation of team rules. Then he struggled. Then he finally got it together. He started as the season went along. Fletcher Cox playing up to that ability. Almost 300 pounds, around a 4.79, 30 reps, excellent upper body strength, long arms. This is a kid, when you think about what he was able to do during his career up till this year, 2.5 career sacks entering this season, despite the suspension, despite the slow start. 5 sacks this past year, 14.5 tackles for loss. He's a penetrator. He gets into the backfield. He's not a stay-at-home type. This kid can complement what they're doing at defensive end, John, and get after the quarterback.
I think he's really going to complement this defensive line in Philadelphia. Their defensive line coach, Jim Washburn, likes these wide defensive ends screaming off the corner. They need an inside pass rush presence like Cox, so quarterbacks can't step up. They also need a defensive lineman that can go chase Robert Griffin III of the Washington Redskins. This kid plays gap to gap at Mississippi State. He's looping all the time. He's slanting. He rarely comes off square. I think that's what he's going to do in Philadelphia. Play square and come off the ball and get after opposing quarterbacks. I like this pick by Philadelphia.
Well, remember the Philadelphia Eagles, who signed everybody and their brother in the offseason a year ago, I should say in the offseason, the very short signing period in the offseason, pretty much stood pat this offseason. They re-signed Deshaun Jackson. They signed an under-the-radar defensive pick in DeMeco Ryans. So you add this pick, Cox, with DeMeco Ryans and a team that was 4-8, fumbling inside the red zone or interception, all of a sudden won their last 4 and realized we should be in this thing. We should be in the playoffs and Super Bowl contenders. That's what they're thinking this year off an 8-8 season. So that's the Philadelphia Eagles all of a sudden moving up. Now the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock with what they hope will be a lucky 13 pick. And which is why we go to Morton Adams, because they're always lucky.
Well, boom, Larry Fitzgerald, the Cardinals wide receiver, had hoped that the Arizona Cardinals would go ahead and take Notre Dame wide receiver Michael Floyd. He's still on the clock, and you'd have to think if the Cardinals bypassed him, one spot behind him, St. Louis Rams are sitting there waiting to get more targets for Sam Bradford. They told Fitzgerald they get him Floyd. They have the chance to do that right here, Mort.
And it's going to be interesting to see what the Rams do. Think about all the bounty they've gotten in terms of draft picks, and some of the players they coveted are gone, including Fletcher Cox, which is one reason we can speculate why the Eagles jumped up there. So what's left for the Rams? I think that's a big deal. We'll learn that when we come back. What do you think?
Thank you, buddy.
What? You got a dog?
Yeah, he's a rescue dog. Name's Wego.
Wego. What kind of name is that?
Call him.
Here we go.
No. Yep.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Thank you. Here we go.
Good boy. Here we go.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
No matter how many big tricks he has pulled off, making his debut in the Nationwide Series will be Travis Pastrana's toughest test yet. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Richmond, tomorrow at 7 on ESPN2.
Repeat after me. I have big muscles,
big muscles
and cool hair.
Cool hair.
I own an environmentally responsible sports sedan. I'm breaking up with Heather Graham.
I'm breaking up with Heather Graham because I need my space.
Wait, what?
I am winning all the sports.
I am winning all the sports.
I believe in myself.
Before the miraculous returns, before the inspirational resumes,
Before the NFL season even begins comes the deal you won't want to miss.
Did he catch it? Yes, he did!
This season, get NFL Sunday Ticket at the lowest price in almost a decade.
Unbelievable!
Watch every game every Sunday for less, only on DirecTV. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/NFL to order now.
Welcome back to New York. The 77th NFL Draft has been anything but dull. All sorts of moves in the first dozen picks. These are the Arizona Cardinals who are on the clock. And you heard Mort and Adam speculate. The speculation is over for a team that finished 8-8, going 7-2 down the stretch.
With the 13th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Michael Floyd, wide receiver, Notre Dame.
Well, you heard the guys talk about a friend for Larry Fitzgerald, whether it's Kevin Cobb or John Skelton at quarterback. We'll see. They, of course, did not win out of the Peyton Manning sweepstakes, but they now have a guy that can go get it.
He can definitely go get it. He's bigger than Blackman. He's faster than Blackman. He's mastered and been productive in two different systems. Remember, he played and started for Charlie Weiss for 2 years, was also very good under Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. But you're right, the best thing Floyd does is go get the ball when it's in flight. And to have him opposite Larry Fitzgerald with Andre Roberts and Early Doucette coming inside in third and fourth receiver situations, Arizona's got a lot of weapons. Floyd is hard to tackle. He's a physical blocker. 4-year starter, tremendous production, Mel.
I think when you look at the Arizona Cardinals, you think about a wide receiving core that used to be Anquan Bolden. You think about what they had opposite him. You think about Larry Fitzgerald. Then you think about Steve Preston. Preston's not there. Bolden's not there. You like Andre Roberts. You like Early Doucette, but they're not big time. This kid could be. And opposite Fitzgerald, you got a big receiver, physical receiver. Now you get a 6'3", 221-pounder, and Michael Floyd. What I want to see from Floyd, more assertiveness, Johnny. You want the ball. Blackman did. I thought there were times where, okay, when you got to be the guy, you got to take over games. Now, I know the mediocre quarterback play contributed to that, but I think if Floyd can realize just how good he is, I think he will help this team immensely. If he doesn't, it'll just be a good receiver, decent receiver.
They must have really liked Floyd, because I thought for sure they were going to take Melvin Ingram, get an outside linebacker. They need a pass rusher. They haven't had a 10-plus sack defender since Bertrand Berry. And nobody has given up 50 or more sacks the last 2 years other than Arizona. They have struggled on the offensive line. Could have gone that route also. They must have really liked Floyd to take him over an outside backer like Ingram and an outstanding offensive tackle like Cordy Glenn or Reif from Iowa.
Exactly right, John. Riley Reif certainly could have been in play there. Could have made an argument for Melvin Ingram. But I think with the maturity of Michael Floyd late in his career, I think he finally got it and realized, hey, I'm talented. I got a chance to be an early round pick. I got to get everything together. He did. And I think when you look at Floyd right now, and you talk about a kid that big who ran a 4.42 at the combine, vertical 36.5 inches. That's what we talked about. 2 inches taller than Blackman, 11 pounds heavier and faster. Yeah, Blackman went early. Floyd goes around the middle of the first round. He's going to get an opportunity to showcase those skills.
First time we've had a Golden Domer goal this early since 1993. Rick Meyer, Jerome Bettis, 2-10. Now to our Bud Light Blue Room and Susie Colbert.
Michael, how would you describe this moment?
Exciting. You know, I can't feel the emotions going on right now. It's, you know, bubble guts. You know, it's so excited. You know, it's a dream come true for me.
You were mentored and have trained with Larry Fitzgerald. What will it be like to be able to play across from him in the NFL?
It'll be another emotion that, you know, I couldn't imagine coming true. You know, he's a great guy, and I'm willing to get there and, you know, learn from him. Since he's been in the game so long, you know, he knows, you know, the ins and the outs of, you know, how to be a great wide receiver.
You know, the guys talked about maturity, and for you in life, second chances as well. What made the difference for you toward the end of your career at Notre Dame?
You know, the difference is, you know, the motivation to be in this position right now. I always wanted it since I was a little kid, you know, watching this on draft day, guys picking hats and meeting the commissioner. You know, that's what motivated me even more to become a stronger man and a better person.
Michael, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Michael Floyd, the newest member of the Arizona Cardinals. The 2012 NFL Draft continues. We'll be right back.
They smashing their opponents, this is their moment. Focus like they're under hypnosis. Their DNA's made the palm trophies. Destination the top, took hits, bumps, and bruises. It can't be stopped.
The men. We're in a situation. Don't worry. Oh, no, I'm worried. Very worried. The mystery.
Kay's been involved in some sort of time travel.
What? The mission. Send me back to 1969 to save my partner. Okay?
How do you know my name?
I'm an agent of Men in Black, but I'm from the future. And there's an invasion coming, so we need to go right now.
All right.
Men in Black 3, rated PG-13.
When you have cable and your picture freezes, you get irritable. When you get irritable, your work suffers. When your work suffers, the wrong man is convicted. When the wrong man is convicted, he has time to think. When he has time to think, he thinks about you a lot. And when he thinks about you a lot, your house explodes. Don't have your house explode. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
You didn't choose to travel like this. But you can choose to travel like this. And enjoy more of this, and this. It's a new stay. This is Courtyard.
People everywhere are raving about the new Doritos Locos Tacos. Oh, sweet mercy, posted Maggie Crispin. So bomb, tweeted at Kim RZKX. I burst into tears, yo, Braves Brave 2009. And according to Tony J, it's like kissing a unicorn on a pot of gold. The new Doritos Locos Tacos. Sometimes you gotta live más.
Every luxury car claims to be somehow greater than the sum of its parts. But how about one that's smarter?
The Lincoln MKZ, ranked the most dependable car in its segment 3 years running by J.D. Power & Associates. Visit your Lincoln dealer now for this attractive lease offer, plus $1,000 competitive Conquest cash.
Now it gets interesting.
Let's go. Radio City poppin', Major League taking options. ESPN we're watching, Commish making announcements. Families holding their kids crying while they screaming, "Ma, we made it." Then you take the stages, you crown with your hat and jersey. Now you on top of the world, the greatest feeling, long away this journey. You heard me? In New York, 2012 draft from Cars. Yeah. In a New York City, New York City, New York City, New York City, blah.
Welcome back, everybody, to New York, where the 14th selection is now owned by the St. Louis Rams, a trade they made moving down and Dallas moving up earlier in a first half of the first round that's been just chock full of trades. The Rams originally began this draft process with the second overall pick at 2 and 14. Steve Spagnuolo, coach, general manager Billy Devaney, fired. Jeff Fisher, after all those years with Tennessee, is their new head coach. Les Snead is their new general manager. Here's who they've picked up. They've picked up a number one. They picked up this pick from Dallas. They picked up a 2, of course, this year from the Redskins in the trade they made earlier a few weeks ago involving RG3. They picked up this one from the Cowboys, 45. They picked up 2 number 1s coming up, but what they got to do is pick up some players. Right? Sooner or later, they got to pick up some players.
Better pick up some linemen, too, because Sam Bradford got punished last year. 55 sacks.
Well, you missed 2 receivers, John, by 1 pick. You missed Justin Blackman by 1 pick. You missed Michael Floyd by 1 pick. And you gave up a chance to get Mo Claiborne, cornerback out of LSU.
Right, and remember, Lloyd has gone to New England, their receiver last year, so poor Steven Jackson, he's just waiting for some help. So Workhorse, can you give me some help, please? Let's see what they do.
With the 14th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the St. Louis Rams select Michael Brockers, defensive tackle, LSU.
So the Rams defense, Jeff Fisher, who, let's remember his salad days with Tennessee, a big rotation of 7 or 8 and a real, meaning in a pass rush front wall, impressive. Their rush defense was second worst. Now, Chris Long has certainly developed into a fine player, but that is Jeff's pedigree, isn't it? That sort of rotation.
Well, they got rid of Justin Bannon. They got rid of Fred Robbins, Gary Gibson. They brought in Kendall Langford from Miami, and now it's Brockers, Mel, a guy you like.
Brockers will run stuffer, John. He is what he is. He's a big body. You think about a kid that his size, 6'5", 322 pounds, was actually a defensive end in high school, grew into be a defensive tackle. Third-year sophomore, comes out early. The argument you make here is no production as a pass rusher, but he would have gone back to LSU. Maybe he's a top 5 pick. You're getting him here at the middle of the first round. Here's a kid only had a couple sacks his whole career. 2 career sacks, yet you're a first-round pick. Talked all week, John, you can be a defensive lineman, have physical ability, not produce, and be a first-round pick. You can't say that about any other position on the football field. Here's a guy who won't be moved off the line, big body, powerful, strong against the run. He'll free up your middle linebacker, Laurinaitis. No question about that. You got the pass rushers off the edge. What you want to see, John, is can he ever, based on what you saw on film, develop some pass rush at the pro level?
Well, he's raw. He's only played 1 year, really, at LSU. He's just a kid, but he's a big kid. Look at this, 6'5", 322 pounds. What I didn't like was, as you say, the pass rush. No pocket push for a big guy. I think he can develop that. This young man reminds me of Chris Canty of the New York Giants. He's going to be an excellent run stuffer with these outside defensive ends, Quinn and Long howling off the edge. They're going to force the ball back to the inside. Here's Brockers and Kendall Langford. I'm just surprised that the Rams haven't brought in an offensive lineman. Last year, they were under siege. I don't care who played quarterback. Brockers has a lot of upside. He's just a kid. But they need help on the line as well.
When they traded down, they were kind of no man's land for them because the receiver they probably targeted, Michael Floyd, taking 1 pick ahead. You know, you think about what they could have done in the secondary cornerback. Well, Gilmore and Claiborne were gone. You're going to take Drake Kirkpatrick there? Probably not. They just went to their boards. Let's take the best guy. Defensive tackle was their 5th need.
So the Seattle Seahawks are now picking 15. And in year 3 under Pete Carroll, a pair of 7-9 seasons. 2 years ago, they won the division. Last year, way behind the Niners.
With the 15th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Bruce Irvin, defensive end, West Virginia.
Well, I would say that this is the first name that might have really leapfrogged on all the, quote, mock drafts, correct?
Listen, he doesn't play all the time. He has 4.4 speed. He's an interesting story off the field. We'll get into it in a minute. But nobody has the juice that Irvin has as a pass rusher. He's going to be a pass rushing specialist only. This kid comes from nowhere. 2 years at West Virginia, was a junior college transfer, started as a free safety at the JC level. But when you watch West Virginia at closing time with the game on the line late, Irvin is the go-to guy that delivers the sacks. He's had a lot of production as a pass rusher. This is not a run defender. He reminds me a lot of Antoine Barnes, who led the Chargers in sacks with 11. He's a one-dimensional, one-trick pony right now. Speed rusher, and he's got rare speed to rush.
John, this is a shocking first-round pick. Shocking for, I thought mid-second he had moved up to, not the middle of the first. I mean, you're talking about a guy that produced as a junior and senior, 22.5 sacks, but production dropped as a senior, a little inconsistent. It was handled in some games. I will say this. Talked to Bruce Irvin on ESPN Radio, the Darian Mel show Saturday. He said to Darian and I, I'm going to make any teams that pass me over, pay for it. He thought he'd be a second-round pick. And all those 32 teams, like Maurice Jones-Drew said, hey, 32 teams, I'll wear number 32 for that reason. Bruce Irvin, I don't even think expect to be a first-round pick himself. The fact that he's a mid-first rounder is mind-boggling at this point. There were some off-the-field issues. Morton Adam will address that, why there were some red flags with Bruce Irvin that we thought maybe third round. He ascended up because I think people went back to the tape and saw a kid who got after the quarterback, and they needed a defensive end, Seattle did, but the red flags were there with Bruce Irvin.
Well, they have some shocking new uniforms when you look at them. It's a shocking pick, as you say, for the Seahawks, and Adam Schefter shed a little light here.
Well, Boom, this is one of the most surprising picks, maybe the most surprising pick in the first round. There's a tremendous backstory behind Bruce Irvin, who dropped out of high school, spent 2.5 weeks in jail at that point in time for robbery, earned his GED, enrolled in Mount San Antonio Junior College before enrolling in West Virginia, where he became one of the top pass rushing threats in the country. However, on March 18th, he was arrested and charged with destruction of property and disorderly conduct. According to the police report, Irvin knocked a magnetic sandwich shop sign off the top of a delivery car. Opinion on Irvin was split around the league. There were multiple teams that had him as the top pass rusher in the entire draft, and there were other teams that said he had bust potential all over him and wouldn't touch him. The Seahawks believe he's going to be a dynamic pass rushing force in Seattle, Boom.
Well, and dynamic defense is what Pete Carroll is certainly capable of. He's got a couple of safeties that play that way. That's what they're trying to do, because all of a sudden they're looking up at a team that was 13-3 after a year in which they went 7-9 and won the division. The plot has changed in the NFC West. All right, now the Jets are on the clock, as you might be able to hear here. They do let a few Jet fans come in here, you know, at the 4 levels there of Radio City Music Hall. And our Bud Light Fan Forum question from the Bud Light Facebook page comes from Phil Mattingly in New York. Not sure he's related to Don or not, but we'll see. What would be a better pick for the Jets? Offensive lineman or defensive lineman? Well, we're jumping ahead of things with the 8-8 Jets, who are 8-5. Went 0-3 down the stretch, had locker room trouble. They now have Tim Tebow. They were in championship game the first 2 years of Rex Ryan, missed playoffs last year. Do we want to answer the question? O-line, D-line, is that where they go?
I'll say this. I think right tackle is a big need area, but can you get a right tackle in the second round? Maybe Bobby Massey from Ole Miss. We'll see where he ends up. It's obviously going to be tempting to look at Cordy Glenn from Georgia here. Riley Reif, left tackle at Iowa. You can move him to the right side. Or a Quentin Coples or a Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram, Mel. This is Rex Ryan we're talking about. He likes defenses that we can't even draw up. I mean, guys are walking around, I don't know where they are. I've seen Melvin Ingram line up as an outside linebacker, a defensive end, a defensive tackle. He returns kicks. He's on the punt team. Melvin Ingram would be a perfect New York Jet.
What's the concern, though, John? The short arms and only 6'1.5". That's why Melvin Ingram for the 4-3 teams causes some concern. Here you talk about a guy off the edge can get the job done, but it's tempting to look at Quentin Coples. When he played inside as a junior, we talked about defensive tackle, 10 sacks. Quiet early this year, came on late. Coples opposite Muhammad Wilkerson. That's a pretty good defensive line for Rex Ryan. So I think that's a debate going on in that war room. Is it Coples? Is it Ingram? Is it the right tackle? Jets have a lot of needs.
By the way, there are a lot of people storming in here from Madison Square Garden. The Rangers have just beat Ottawa in Game 7, and the hockey fans are coming in to see the Jets pick in the same couple of minutes. Now, while we have 2 minutes left before they pick, Tim Tebow is a New York Jet. Mark Sanchez is the starting quarterback. Tim Tebow is there to run the Wildcat primarily. He beat Rex Ryan, and he beat new offensive coordinator Tony Sparano last year, so they see up front that it can work with Tebow against them. Will it work with the Jets? Tebow behind Mark
I think
Sanchez.
Tebow works. I mean, Tebow gets more publicity than the rest of the league combined. He's a winner. He's going to be a component in this offense. He's going to make it hard to prepare for the Jets because you'll have to prepare for Sanchez and their regular offense, and then they're going to have to prepare for Tebow in any situation. You're also going to see Tim Tebow as the personal protector on the punt team. Rex Ryan is going to use Tebow creatively, and he's going to use Sanchez and Tebow to win football games. But as you said, They need some help. I don't know who their receivers are going to be. Plaxico Burress is in limbo. Are they going to bring back Braylon Edwards? Where are they going to get a wideout and another playmaker on offense? But I'd be surprised if Melvin Ingram isn't a New York Jet.
But you think it could work? How will Mark Sanchez? Will Mark Sanchez be okay coming off the field 15 times a game?
He's got a great contract. I think he understands clearly what Rex Ryan wants to do. They've been in a lot of shooting matches together. They've been through this for 3 years. The Jets want to win and win the Super Bowl. They've made that loud and clear. And Tim Tebow is going to be another part of their arsenal and the story.
Got a lot of work to do, John. This is a critical draft for the New York Jets. In the division with Brady, Buffalo's making strides. You mentioned wide receiver. Who was the third receiver all along? Kendall Wright from Baylor. Stock fell just a bit. Stephen Hill, Georgia Tech. That would be a stretch. Quentin Coples. Thought at one time he was a guaranteed top 7 pick. Here he is available in the middle of the first. And Bruce Irvin goes ahead of Coples and Ingram. There you go.
One other note on Tebow, if the Giants don't get in the Super Bowl, et cetera, and this and occupy the back pages, does Tim Tebow even become a Jet? I know they're doing it for football reasons, and I think it's going to work. We love the kid. But if the New York Giants are 8-8 instead of 9-7, they're not in there. And is Tim Tebow somewhere else, like Jacksonville, other than the Jets, to get back on the back pages? I don't know. The back page now will say, Rangers win, Jets pick. So here we go.
With the 16th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Quentin Coples, defensive end, North Carolina.
Well, in studying the draft, which you guys do tons, the two big question marks are, boy, they look great, but at times less filling, were Dontari Poe and Quentin Coples, and they're both gone in the first half of the first round.
Quentin Coples really looks the part. Excellent size. He's very athletic, flexible. He can really bend and twist and turn his body. Very good first step quickness. He can really close. But the effort is way too inconsistent for me, Mel. He disappears this year for long stretches. He gets blocked and stays blocked. He's going to play for one of the premier defensive coaches in football. If anybody can press the buttons to get it out of him, Rex Ryan and his staff can do it. This kid has rare athletic ability, but I think effort is contagious. So is lack of effort. And I did not like the way Coples played his final year in Chapel Hill. I'm like you, I liked him better 2 years ago, particularly when he played inside.
That's the thing when you look at Quentin Coples. Why isn't a kid 6'6", 283 pounds with his type of athletic ability a top 10 pick? Well, because bottom line is, early in the year, there were a lot of games, John, where you're watching Quentin Coples. He's not doing it. He's quiet. Think about 10 of his 13 tackles for loss. 5 of his 7.5 sacks came between mid-October and early November. So he got it together mid-season, carried that through the year. Think about the Senior Bowl and all that, but the bottom line is with Quentin Coples, the talent's there. I think the passion for football, is it there? Rex Ryan, passionate coaches you'll ever see. Can he get it out of this kid, push the right buttons? You think about catching, not attacking. I saw that in too many games this year. Didn't close, didn't finish the way he was capable of. You're seeing plays now where he was at his best. But there were games where he did not play to the level of that talent. Tough kid, hard to move against the run. Really strong in that area. That's why as a 3-4 defensive end, he can get the job done. The Jets love Muhammad Wilkerson. They think he can be Richard Seymour. High hopes for Wilkerson, the first-round pick last year out of Temple. If Coples plays like he did mid to late season, then they have something. If he doesn't, then he becomes a bust. And a disappointing first-round pick. It's really up to Coples. He can be as good as he wants to be.
You know what? I'm reading some of my comments that I have from the guys at Scout. Is it low intensity, or is he just smooth? That sounds like a scouting report for Fred Couples, not Quentin Coples. We'll see. So the Jets go for pressure up front. We're halfway through the first round of the 77th NFL Draft. Cincinnati with the first of their 2 picks. Up next here in New York.
present my only son. He took out a whole armada with one arm.
Yeah! That just happened! Yes, it did. Yes, 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 yes! Yes! We did it! Yes, we did! Oh, we did it! Yeah, see you, bud.
Later.
Honey, who was that?
Who, that guy? I don't know.
Get caught up in the excitement. Buffalo Wild Wings. More wings, more beer, more sports.
Hey, who's this?
This is where the banners hang. This is where teams write their history. It's where they tell you who they are. But when I look around here, I don't see a team with nothing to say. I see a team that's ready to make a statement.
Every communications provider is different, but CenturyLink is committed to being a different kind of communications company.
Do what you want when you want to. We all have time with a different kind of connection.
We link people in Fortune 500 companies nationwide and around the world, and we will continue to free you to do more and focus on what matters.
Yeah, link up and go now. Link up and go now.
Okay, so what kind of car should I get? Definitely something with 4 doors. New or used? Used. It's gotta be black.
Now compare new and used cars and even special offers side by side.
Now that's a good deal.
So when you find the right car,
that's the one.
There won't be any doubt in your mind. Autotrader.com, the ultimate automotive marketplace.
Welcome back to the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light.
Welcome back to New York. Mel, now who in the bottom half of the first round?
Ingram. Is he a defensive end? Is he an outside linebacker? Is he a middle linebacker? That tweener type player usually does drop a little bit. David DeCastro, pure guard. Reef, left tackle. Glenn, the right tackle. Merciless, the one-year wonder, led the nation in sacks and forced fumbles. Chandler Jones is red hot. Missed 5 games with a knee, but a pass rusher, the brother of Arthur Jones. Massey's the best right tackle, I think, available now. One of the best right tackles in this draft. Kirkpatrick, the corner from Alabama, played in a lot of big games. I love Levante David. Today, you coach Derek Brooks. He's that type of player. And Courtney Upshaw, like Melvin Ingram, only 6'1.5" with short arms. They're tweener. That's why those guys are still on the board.
And now the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the Carson Palmer first-round pick from Oakland. They also pick a few spots down.
With the 17th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Dre Kirkpatrick, defensive back, Alabama.
Well, now here's the third Crimson Tide to go in the first round from the national champs. Dre Kirkpatrick, well, we know he has first-round talent. There were some questions, Coach.
Well, they call him Swagga. He's only a junior. He's a 2-year starter. He's another Saban corner that understands how to play the game. He's wiry, very slender. 3 interceptions in his 2-year career, had none this year. He's the kid that will hit you and really strike you if you don't see him coming. He's got a big upside. I've seen him sort bunches, play different coverages. The kid has got to get stronger, Mel, but the Bengals need a corner. Leon Hall, serious injury last year. Pac-Man Jones has been in and out of trouble. They signed Terrence Newman, a veteran from the Dallas Cowboys. The Bengals needed a corner. They got the third best available, and I don't think it's a very deep position in this draft. I think it's a good move by the Bengals.
Well, you think about Leon Hall coming off the Achilles in November. You think about Nate Clements getting up there in age. Add Jason Allen. You look at Dre Kirkpatrick, John, get paid to cover. In coverage, I didn't think he showed elite ability. I think in coverage he was inconsistent. You saw that this year. You saw him tackle well. He's an aggressive corner, but he's 6'1.5", only 185 pounds. Can he hold up in the NFL with that aggressive style physically? So we'll have to see. Marvin Lewis, a heck of a defensive mind. You think about a need area going in. You think about Stephon Gilmore, he rose. You thought maybe he would be there back 2 months ago. That didn't happen. Kirkpatrick became the third best corner. But I think the cover skills have to improve in order for Dre Kirkpatrick to be a kind of player in the NFL that you're drafted to be in a pass-happy league.
Well, this is saying something. Obviously, when you win the national championship, you got great players. But, I mean, they come NFL ready when you're coached by Nick Saban and company.
Yeah, I don't think you could underestimate that. When you pick up the film, you're going to see a 4-3 defense just like you see in pro football. And then on the next play, you're going to see a 3-4 defense with the same personnel. You don't see that unless you watch the New England Patriots play, Mel. They have a lot of different combination coverages. They have a 3-down nickel package. Very extensive, very well coached. No coincidence that Alabama is winning national titles, but the big reason, Chris, is Nick Saban is recruiting a lot of first-round draft choices.
Yeah, well, he knows how to do that as well. So the Bengals will pick 4 picks from now, another first-round pick. Dre Kirkpatrick, Cincinnati Bengals. Morton, Adam, add to it.
Well, there aren't a lot of quality corners in this particular draft, according to a lot of evaluators. You guys already hit on the Nick Saban factor. He actually personally coaches the secondary players, and we've now seen 2 go in this first round. Mark Barron, the safety earlier, now Dre Kirkpatrick. The other thing is, yes, he will strike you, and when you're playing the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to have to hit some people and bring them down. I know he's got to get bigger, but you play Ray Rice, you've got to have somebody who can strike you, and they were intent on getting a cornerback. And yes, they'd like to get a nice big physical offensive lineman maybe a little later, a few picks down here with another first-round pick.
And yes, Mort, he's got the physicality, but the issue that Dre Kirkpatrick is going to have is his speed. Ran a 4.55 40, ran a 4.5 340, and he's in a division in the AFC North where he could be matched up against Mike Wallace in Pittsburgh, and he could be matched up against Torrey Smith in Baltimore. Those are 2 of the fastest receivers in the league, and that is the weakness and the question mark to Dre Kirkpatrick's game. So that's the issue that he's going to have to defend against when he goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll be back with plenty more picks. San Diego's on the clock here at Radio City Music Hall.
Call Dave.
This is Dave.
Hey, just got off work. The conditions are looking pretty good.
With standard color touch radio system, Bluetooth connectivity, and backup camera, the 32 highway MPG GMC Terrain, the only thing more amazing than its technology is what you can do with it. Lease this 2012 GMC Terrain for $269 a month. A 2012 Terrain from GMC.
Hey, could you hold that, please?
All right. Here we go.
Keep the change.
Just over 9 minutes to go.
Hello,
Me too. Not you.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Apparently I didn't get the Thong Thursday memo.
When we brought the Victory Challenge to the streets, we were not going to do it at some freaking poser parade. No, sir. This is Sturgis. Let's ride. Are you two going to stand here oiling each other's leathers, or are you going to go for a victory ride?
Let's go for a ride.
I'm leaving my Harley Davidson at home. I'm taking the Victory all the way back to California.
Ride one and you'll own one. You got that, sweet lips?
I'm going to lunch.
Those days are gone now.
I'm going with her. I don't want to be chicken. I want to eat it.
McDonald's all-white meat premium chicken sandwich and the juicy 100% Angus third pounder. It's your lunch. Take it.
It's the moment when forever begins. Kay Jewelers presents Neil Lane Bridal.
Setting has to be perfect. It's where the diamond lives.
Handcrafted rings with diamonds hand-selected by Kay.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Want a chance to live like a millionaire? This year, take your game to the next level with NFL.com Fantasy. You could win $1 million, and victory will never be so sweet. could win $1 million playing the new fantasy game from the NFL. For more, text NFL to 69635.
Well, so many of the players, 26 of them in the green room, is at defense time. Chandler Jones, fast riser, Syracuse. Melvin Ingram is sitting, waiting his turn, South Carolina. Now come the San Diego Chargers at 18. And many of the Chargers that you think that they are, other than Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates, they're not the Chargers you remember. It's been a couple years now since they won the West. And for the first time in 10 years, they're not going to be the favorites because Peyton Manning is on the Denver Broncos. But A.J. Smith, GM, Norv Turner, the coach, are back. Just look at what the Giants did, stability with Tom Coughlin. They kept him. Look what happened to them. The Chargers are hoping from the same. I think it's got to be defense up front.
With the 18th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Melvin Ingram, linebacker, South Carolina.
Well, I like this pick.
Do you? They're a different squad. They don't really push the envelope defensive side anymore. And it's been a while since they've had Sean Merriman or Jamal Williams at nose or Cromartie with 10 interceptions. They need envelope pushing on defense. Is he an envelope pusher?
This is a deluxe defensive football player, in my opinion, in this draft. I had him at the top of my board. You can play Melvin Ingram anywhere. He can return kicks. He can cover kicks. He was recruited out of North Carolina as a linebacker, and he actually played linebacker early in his career. Extremely versatile. Big play potential. Just put the Auburn film on. He has superior athletic ability. The only area of concern I have is, where do you play him on first and second down? He is unbelievable over the guard as a nickel pass rusher. This is the kind of player I like, a kid that can play anywhere on the football field and make big plays.
John, you think about 19 sacks the last 2 years. I know he's got short arms, but this kid is a ferocious football player. Great versatility. I thought he would have fit in well with the Jets. We talked about that. They went instead for Quentin Poples. You want a guy that can rush off the edge, can play inside linebacker. This kid did it all. I mean, they put him inside a defensive tackle, and nobody can block him. I mean, he is quick as a cat, plays with an attitude, tough, consistent performer. Best value pick in the draft, John.
Yeah, if you have a bad offensive lineman, put Melvin Ingram on him. That's what this kid's capable of doing. Watch for yourselves. Here he is playing a one technique on the inside shoulder of the guard, going backdoor, easy sack. He has the speed to run and get you. Here he is in a three technique, outside shoulder of the guard. There's that patented inside move, and it's very effective. Once again, outside shoulder of the guard. He's an outstanding three technique in nickel pass rush situations. He's stout. He's physical. Here he is playing right defensive end. He's beaten Carpenter last year, first-round draft choice of Alabama, inside, big impact sack. It's no coincidence that South Carolina is on the map of college football because of Melvin Ingram and Stephon Gilmore. 2 Gamecocks have already gone here in the first round. You need somebody on your hands team? This is unbelievable. This is Melvin Ingram, a deluxe football player. Don't forget, this is the kid that faked the punt and ran for 70 yards. And you see Brandon Boykin, a corner you'll hear from later, can't tackle him. And it was the most disappointing, sad expression I've ever seen on that Georgia Bulldog head.
You know, that's why he wore the single-digit number, because of the fake punt there. Just a little thing on San Diego. If they all arrive at the same time, Ryan Matthews, the last 6 weeks, looked good finally. #1 pick. Larry English, he's been hurt. Corey Legion, #1 pick last year. And maybe Ingram. If they all arrive on time at the... Come on, San Diego, wake up, right?
Well, think about their defense. Think about their linebacking core. Sean Phillips.
They all arrive.
Three and a half sacks, boom. 3.5 sacks for Phillips, John. Lowest of his 8-year career. Jarrett Johnson's been in the league 9 years. Heck of a player. He seals the edge. That's what he did with Baltimore. 9 years in the league, 20 sacks. That's only a little over 2 a year. English has been a disappointment. Think about Antoine Barnes. He had 11 sacks.
I know.
Now you bring in a guy like Melvin Ingram who can move around and get after the quarterback. I think it's one of the... It is the best. Outside of Andrew Luck, RG3, Richardson, this is the best pick of the middle of the first round.
Maybe 4 #1s arrive at the same time. That's my point. Now, the Chicago Bears, who had a really nice season going last year at 7-3 until Jay Cutler got hurt. And then Forte, who had a really nice season. He got hurt late. So how do they end up 1-5, finishing 8-8? But Brian Urlacher was still at the top of his game. Lance Briggs at the top of his game. The Chicago Bears quietly in the offseason had two interesting signings. Well, what happened? Well, we had no backup quarterback, really, and we had no answer at backup running back. Jason Campbell's now the backup to Jay Cutler. That's a big upgrade. And, you know, at running back, they signed Michael Bush from Oakland, who was a big upgrade at a backup for Matt Forte. Now, what do? Mike Martz is out as offensive coordinator. Mike Tice is the new offensive coordinator for Lovie Smith. This is an intriguing team who now has to look up not only at Green Bay, but at the emerging Detroit Lions.
No doubt. And Rod Marinelli, don't forget, is the defensive coordinator. And he's also an excellent defensive line coach. We all know about Julius Peppers. There were times last year, like on our Monday Night Football game, where Peppers got hurt. They could use another pass rusher like Chandler Jones, who I think is on the rise. Merciless is from their backyard in Illinois. I'd be surprised if they don't take a defensive end here.
Here are the Bears.
With the 19th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Shea McClellan, defensive end, Boise State.
A name you didn't mention, but certainly a name that we've been hearing on the rise in the last week or so, Mel.
Very athletic kid. I thought he'd go late first round to the 3-4 teams as an outside linebacker. You move around. He was a pass rusher supreme at Boise State. Great motor as well. You think about what he did for the Broncos. 20.5 career sacks. You talk about varying his charge, stays low around the corner, can play outside linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end. That's where he'll have to play with the Chicago Bears. Idonije sack total went down. They need somebody in that mix, in that rotation. He is a pass rusher. I thought Green Bay and New England would target him late first round, but here he is, a little earlier than expected at 19. Saw a little Clay Matthews in him during his career at Boise State. I think for a kid like that, tough for the tall offensive tackle to handle because he gets that bend that's so low coming off the edge, John. He'll be a guy with Idonije, with Peppers, gives him another guy in a division with a lot of quarterbacks who can throw the football. This guy will help him get after that quarterback, harass that signal caller more than they were last year.
I think he can play Sam linebacker in their 4-3 scheme and be a part of their nickel pass rush because he did it at Boise State. Just find the football, and you'll find Shea McClellan. He did an excellent job at the Senior Bowl. I like this Boise State football program, Chris. 50-3 in the last 4 years. This kid's a winner. He's a high-effort guy. He fits the criteria of the Chicago Bear defense. He's going to fit in nice up there.
Coach Pete, Chris Peterson does a marvelous job with his kids, in addition to going 50-3 under 4 years behind quarterback Kellen Moore. And we may have another Boise State Bronco in the first round with the running back Martin before we go a little bit farther. So the Chicago Bears go Shea McClellan, and it's fitting that somebody, and look at him, all grins, going to the show. Get it to play defense with Brian Urlacher. Well, they play on the blue turf up there in Boise. Why not go to the Bud Light Blue Room now with Susie Kolber and a Bronco?
Shay's first trip to New York City from a small town, Marsing, Idaho, right? There's probably more people in Radio City tonight that are from your small town.
Yeah, definitely.
What's this whole experience been like?
You know, it's been great. I've just been trying to enjoy day by day and just have fun. And, you know, it finally came to an end now. I know where I'm going, and it's going to be awesome.
For the folks that don't know you well, grew up on a farm, raising wild animals. I mean, what is it at the core that makes you who you are today?
I think, you know, just like you said, growing up on the farm, you know, teach you discipline, your responsibility, hard work, and I think that's, you know, that's what's made me who I am. Definitely.
Raised by your grandparents, your grandma said she would run down a street called Chicken Dinner Road when you got drafted. What's the excitement going on now?
It's very exciting, definitely for my grandparents, you know, for my mom and all my family back in Boise and all the support in Marsing, Idaho, so it's great.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Adam, now let's go over to you.
All right, Susie, we have another big trade here. The New England Patriots have moved up to the number 21 overall pick that Cincinnati held. In that spot, the Patriots will wind up taking Syracuse defensive end Chandler Jones, who the Patriots feel will be a strong pass rusher for them. They've been looking for pass rushing help for years. They had the extra picks in the first round and in the second round. 2 1s, 2 2s. Cincinnati moves back. New England moves back, moves up, and gets the defensive end it wanted from Syracuse. Plenty more trades, plenty more activity when we come back to Radio City Music Hall.
The new Taurus is going to blow people away, starting with the guys who built it. This Taurus is pretty serious. I can't believe they're actually going to let me drive it. All right, it's got what, 360 horsepower?
365 horsepower.
Let's see what that feels like.
So this is 365 horsepower, all while delivering real great fuel economy.
So we're getting good fuel economy, because that's what I was thinking about right now.
Oh, boy.
When it comes to delicious pizza creations, Pizza Hut never stops striving to bring you greatness. That's why we created the Cheesy Bites Pizza. We surrounded your favorite pizza with 28 cheese-filled miracles of taste, made to pull, dip, and pop. Get a large one-topping Cheesy Bites pizza for just $11.99, only at your Pizza Hut. Make it great.
Here at Edge, we know it's important to get ready. And when we're getting ready, to get ready, we get ready with Edge. It has lubricating molecules to help your razor give you a close shave and less irritation. Edge Shave Gel. Get your edge.
Get ready to stay cool at the ESPYs. Win a trip to the ESPYs and meet Tim Tebow.
Man, you gotta feel this shirt.
And you gotta enter to win at jockey.com/ESPYs.
From Jockey, the true original.
Drive it like you stole it.
You need a new catchphrase.
On my orders, the G.I. Joes were terminated with extreme prejudice.
Boom. We're all that's left.
What if president isn't the president?
There's no one we can trust. There is one man. General. Call me Joe. Anything I missed?
Girls with guns.
Nice.
ESPN's coverage of the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light, is brought to you by Under Armour. This is your armor. Beware of imposters. Ford. And Pizza Hut. Try Pizza Hut's Cheesy Bites Pizza, surrounded with 28 cheese-filled bites. Pizza Hut. Make it great.
Welcome back, everybody, to New York. Fast and Furious trades ahoy here in the first round of the 2012 NFL Draft. And now on the clock, number 20, the Tennessee Titans, who did a nice job last year under first-year coach and Hall of Famer Mike Munchak. They were 9-7, albeit not in the playoffs. Matt Hasselbeck had a nice resurrection year, if you will. One of the guys who he was very familiar with, one of his favorite blockers, Steve Hutchinson in his Seattle days, is a new Tennessee Titan. Chris Johnson, a couple of years ago, was 2,000 yards. He had to barely scrape to get 1,000 last year. So Tennessee is a team that had a nice record. All of a sudden, the division's open a little with the Colts not being there, if you will, and Houston winning it. But yet, where are they? What do they do in year 2 of Mike Munchak? Britt is injured a lot. They're kind of in the middle, aren't they, Coach?
I think they need a pass rusher. You know, when do you remember the Tennessee Titans finishing 28th or 29th in the league in sacks? They had 28 sacks last year. I'm used to Javon Curse. I'm used to heat coming off the edges. Merciless from Illinois. Chandler Jones. They need a pass rusher, I think.
Here we go.
With the 20th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Kendall Wright, wide receiver, Baylor.
Shows you what I know.
Yeah, well, hey, Britt is injured a lot. He's a good player when he's there, but he's hurt a lot. I mean, they're a team in flux with a veteran quarterback now. With, remember, Jake Locker waiting in the wings one day at QB.
Yeah, he ran a 4.59 at the combine. Boom. Everybody said, oh, he's going to drop. Well, he ran a 4.4 during his workout. You think about some teams that I talked to had him at a 4.4 back in the spring. 5'10 and a quarter, pushing 200 pounds, 198 pounds. Very good athlete. You see the ability after the catch. Had a dominant game this past year against Oklahoma. I think what he did there, 208 yards receiving, would have been more. He had a touchdown reception called back for a penalty. This kid can get down the field. He can be a slot guy, great with the ball in his hands. I would have liked to have seen him be more of a factor in the return game at Baylor. That wasn't the case. Now all of a sudden you think about with the quarterback situation, developing a young guy like Jake Locker. This was the main go-to option for RG3 during his career. And keep in mind, he wasn't a one-year guy. He was a 4-year starter at Baylor and had some big games against some pretty good defenses during his career. Electric player with the ball in his hands, move him around. You can look at a kid here who was a consistent, productive player. I think the 4.59, that was the big red flag. Once he got back down in the 4.4 range, he was considered a borderline late first, early second round pick. Tennessee grabs him here at pick number 20 overall.
It's a surprise pick to me. Very productive and ascending production. More production every year. Surprise pick.
That's the Tennessee going offense for quarterback Matt Hasselbeck. And now with New England up next, and Adam talked about that, and we'll get to the Patriots, the first of their 2 first-round picks. A second team, another team with 2 first-round picks, will be the Cleveland Browns. And the debate right now, I think, in Cleveland is, do we know we have Colt McCoy, but do we select a 28-year-old, going to be 29 in October, quarterback from Oklahoma State named Brandon Weeden, and maybe put him in and play? Cleveland might be thinking about this at this moment.
He's talking about this guy's age like he's 50 years old.
I know.
Roger Staubach was 27.
I know.
I didn't get Rich Gannon until he was 34. Weeden can throw the football and win you games. That's the bottom line. You're worried about short arms and short guys. I'm worried about complete passes and guys that have a cannon like Weeden. He'll get picked, and somebody will be happy when they get him.
The thing with Weeden is he can spin it. RPMs, he has that. He was obviously the guy that got Justin Blackman the football. They had a good running game. They had a good offensive line. A lot of talent around Brandon Weeden at Oklahoma State. Think about a kid that has the size, has the arm. When he's pressured, has to move out of that pocket. Accuracy drops just a bit. Hasn't been under center. We'll have to adapt to that at the pro level. And he's going to have to play right away. And now the quarterbacks in the NFL do. It'll be a 29-year-old rookie coming in. Turns 29 in October. He's as old or older than 21 of the current starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So you can't wait 3 or 4 years for Brandon Weeden to develop. He's got to do it right away.
But in the offseason, he could also pitch for the local baseball team. Now, the Patriots, remember, they made a trade with the Bengals. Adam reported it. We'll have the Bengals' second pick a little bit later on. The Patriots moving up at 21. And look, they're a Super Bowl team. They gave up a lot of yards on defense.
Cincinnati has traded the 21st pick to New England. With the 21st pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Chandler Jones, defensive end, Syracuse.
Good pick here.
Well, look. I mean, they gave up almost a record NFL high, barring Green Bay, ever pass yard. Their pass rushers last year, Andre Carter injured, don't know if he's going to be back. Mark Anderson gone. They need to pressure the passer in the worst way. And this may be the start of several picks in that department, John, for the Patriots.
Well, this guy has rare size and arm length. He's 6'5.5", 270 pounds, can run. He has good power and quickness, and he can convert speed into power. He's just a young colt getting started, Mel. I think he has a huge upside. He can play defensive end as a 5 technique in a 3-4 defense. Here you see him playing right in. Big upside.
John, if he'd have played all year, he'd have been a top 10 pick. He missed the first 5 games with a knee injury. Only played in 7 games, had 4.5 sacks. He intercepted a pass, couple forced fumbles. He was spectacular against Connecticut, West Virginia, Pitt. Uses his hands well, gets off blocks, locates the football. incredible physical specimen. His brother Arthur Jones plays with the Baltimore Ravens as defensive tackle, so good bloodline.
And now here come the Cleveland Browns, and were we right? Do they pull the trigger on a trigger man?
With the 22nd pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Brandon Weeden, quarterback, Oklahoma State.
Well, once Kendall Wright was gone, Kendall Wright might have been a Cleveland Brown had Tennessee not picked him at 20, but once he was gone, that was the debate. Do we wonder and pick him on early in the second round at 37? Or is someone going to come up and get, they couldn't wait. Twice we've seen the Browns not wait, and they got a running back, and they got maybe their starting quarterback next year, Coach.
This guy's a winner. He beat Andrew Luck in the Fiesta Bowl. He beat Robert Griffin 59-17. He beat Nick Foles. He beat Landry Jones. He beat everybody that the NCAA had to offer. The kid can throw the football. The Cleveland Browns have made this loud and clear, Mel. They're going to have a competition at quarterback, and they're going to use Trent Richardson as the feature in their offense. I like this pick a lot.
This was a lethal offense that he directed, John. You think about 3rd and long, 73.3%, 3rd down, 67.6%, red zone, 69%, against ranked teams, 70.7%. Across the board, he got the job done. The issue's going to be under center. But I'll tell you what, he has the arm to deal with the adverse weather conditions in Cleveland, in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore, and Cincinnati, the quarterback has to deal with.
And there's his reaction a couple moments ago, like, hey, it's Cleveland. First round. We're going to play in Lake Erie. We're going to play in a division where there's nowhere to go but up. And now, as we do every year in the first round in the NFL Draft, the salute, literally, to our United States military forces. Always quite a moment here at Radio City Music Hall at the draft. We'll be back in a moment.
One of my prisoners has escaped. Find me someone who doesn't fear the dark forest and hunt her down.
If I refuse,
come to me if you dare.
Rated PG-13. Perseverance, passion, performance. These virtues are woven into the winning spirit of every great team and are driving forces behind every Kumho tire. That's why we support the U.S. women's national soccer team on their journey to London this summer. Kumho Tire, the official tire of the United States Soccer Federation and the winning spirit. Let's go. Visit KumhoTireUSA.com for savings on our team of top performers.
I think you should put this on a deck. We're Double Day and Cartwright, and we're brainstorming on the next round of skateboards.
Now you're gonna see the magic. Look at this.
You know, to click all day is not that rewarding. Like, I have to use my hand.
I'm gonna cut this.
I got my graphics. It's pretty sweet.
Now I can send it to Force Gold for approval.
I think it looks pretty metal. It's refreshing to be able to create something unique.
That's
The revolutionary Galaxy Note from Samsung.
I bathed it in miracles.
Cut! Sorry to interrupt. When's the show?
Well, if we don't find an audience, all we'll ever do is rehearse.
Maybe you should try Every Door direct mail.
Just select the zip codes where you want your message to be seen, print it yourself, or we'll help you find a local partner, and you find the customers that matter most.
Brilliant. Clifton, show us overjoyed. No, too much. Janessa? A round of applause.
Go online to reach every home, every address, every time with Every Door direct mail.
Truckers know towing 9,000 pounds up a steep grade ain't good for your tranny. And when the heat's on, failure ain't an option. This truck's got a 6-speed aluminum tranny and a big old dedicated fluid cooler. So when it's cooking on the outside, this truck won't break a sweat. Available in the full-size Toyota Tundra.
Welcome back to the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light.
Welcome back, everybody, to New York, where the Detroit Lions, one of the real nice stories last year, hadn't been in the playoffs since 1999, began 5-0, finished 10-6, got in there, got a little roughhouse on defense, a little more than they should have, but this is a franchise clearly on the rise. Matthew Stafford, a 5,000-yard quarterback. The Megatron Calvin Johnson, who's up there to help with the pick with Commissioner Roger Goodell. And so here's a guy that caught balls for 1,600 yards, representing the Lions with the Commissioner Roger Goodell.
We have a special guest to announce the Detroit Lions selection. Please welcome Lions wide receiver and Madden NFL 13 cover athlete, Calvin Johnson.
Very honored to be voted by you, the fans, 20 million deep, to the cover of Madden 13. And with that, the 23rd pick of the 2012 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Riley Reiff.
Well, part of the nice story of the Lions was that a couple of their linemen were left over from the team that went 0-16 just a few years ago, like a Jeff Backus. And now here, they're going to make a move with Riley Reiff, Mel and John. They'll start to change things over.
Well, you look at Riley Reiff, 6'5.5", 313 pounds. Doesn't have to be tremendously long arms if you would prefer in a left tackle, but well-coached. Kirk Ferentz is an offensive line guru. Does a great job technically getting these guys ready and getting them ready for the NFL. You think about Bulaga a few years ago, Marshall Yanda with the Baltimore Ravens. I like the fact he's played left tackle, right tackle, and guard, and the fact he started 34 consecutive games. Durable, well-coached, good football player, John. Smart. And for the Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford had some injuries early in his career. You got to keep them upright. I thought he took way too many hits last year for his own good.
Well, they throw the ball more than any team in football, Detroit. They don't even have a running back that gained 400 yards. It's the oldest offensive line in football, but I think this kid could be a very good right tackle and challenge Cherilus, who has struggled.
Well, that's the Lions, and now here come the Pittsburgh Steelers at 12-4.
With the 24th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select David DeCastro, guard, Stanford.
Well, you know what you're getting with him, Mel and John. I mean, this is an old-fashioned guard.
You think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, their offensive line is a big question mark. Yep. You got Marcus Gilbert, you got Pouncey, and then you got Willie Colon with his injury situation. You think about DeCastro, 6'5", 315, right guard, can maybe move inside the center. You don't need him there, though. You got Pouncey, so he's going to be a pure guard coming into the NFL. David Shaw compared DeCastro to 8-time Pro Bowler Steve Wisniewski. Think about it, kid plays a smart game, aggressive football player, loves hand-to-hand combat in the trenches. 34 reps at the combine. Think about it, during the process, you kept hearing, well, he hasn't wowed over the offensive line coaches. You thought he'd be a mid-first. Here he is down there at 24 for the Steelers for that reason. But a guy comes in ready to play in the NFL, coming out of that pro-style offense with the Stanford Cardinals.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they are really, overall, look at them. They're really changing a lot of their defensive players whose names you know. are gone. Age, Aaron Smith, James Ferrier, Hines Ward, of course, the great Hines Ward is retired.
So Ben Roethlisberger limped around a lot last year.
Yep.
That offensive line was woeful in some games.
But a lot of folks thought, I understand the pick because the Castro didn't expect to be there. A lot of folks thought that with those linebackers, a guy like Hightower would be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Ed DeCastro's a perfect Pittsburgh Steeler. Short sleeves, tough, old school guard. And he's been in a pro-style offense at Stanford. I like the pick.
So now the New England Patriots have made a trade with the Denver Broncos to get up here at 25. And here's what they
Denver
do.
has traded the 25th pick to New England. With the 25th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Dante Hightower, linebacker, Alabama.
Now you know what this is? Well, there's a guy named Mayo that's pretty good at a linebacker there, and Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are very close, and they didn't think that he would be there. But they move up to maybe get ahead of a Baltimore Raven team who might have been looking at Hightower once Pittsburgh passed.
This is one of the most interesting kids in this draft. 4-year starter at Alabama. Has played weak side linebacker. Obviously, he's played inside. He's also played defensive end and been a pass rusher in their sub package. I don't know what they're going to use Hightower as in New England. As an outside linebacker, which is where I think he goes, Mel. I don't think at 265 pounds he has the coverage ability to play inside in this league. He will hit you. He's an excellent football player, a great leader for the Crimson Tide. Bill Belichick will have a plan for him, but I think he's going to be an outside backer and a nickel pass rusher, and that's what the Patriots need.
265 pounds, runs 4.65. John, you don't see many of those players come along very often. A couple years ago, he had a knee injury. Comes back from the knee, looked like he was a step slow, only had 3.5 tackles for loss, 0 sacks. This year, 2 years removed from the knee, 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. He intercepted a pass. Numbers across the board improved. Got back to the old Dante Hightower before he had that left knee injury.
So the New England Patriots have certainly, as we suggested, and they're not done, getting young players and young impact players, they hope, to play on that defense. Defense forced a lot of turnovers, but they gave up a ton of yards, especially for a team 13-3 that was under a minute away winning the Super Bowl. Now, for the second straight year, 4 Alabama Crimson Tide players have gone in the first round. Trent Richardson went early to the Cleveland Browns. Mark Barron went to Tampa Bay. Trey Kirkpatrick went to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now Dante Hightower has gone to the New England Patriots. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Are they Deacon Blues? We'll be back.
When you have cable and can't find something good to watch, you get depressed. When you get depressed, you attend seminars. When you attend seminars, you feel like a winner. When you feel like a winner, you go to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, you lose everything. And when you lose everything, you sell your hair to a wig shop. Don't sell your hair to a wig shop. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
That just happened. Yes, it did. Yes, 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 yes! Yes! We did it! Yes, we did it! Yeah, we did it! See you, bud. Later.
Honey, who was that?
Who, that guy? I don't know.
Get caught up in the excitement. Buffalo Wild Wings. More wings, more beer, more sports.
Hey, who's this?
This is a monster move by Boston. Is it time to panic?
It's time to panic.
Don't panic.
We are in panic mode here.
And now everybody is panicking.
I'm not panicking.
Hear every story from every angle at ESPNradio.com.
Now ADT brings you the home security you need at a price that's easy to afford. Get an ADT security system for just $99 installed. Everyone needs security, and now you can help protect your family at this incredible price. Don't wait. Call right now or visit ADT.com.
I had a break-in. By the time we called the police, there wasn't much they could do. I felt so helpless.
ADT quickly called the police.
I felt like it was over right away. We lost our digital photos, financial records, things that insurance can't replace.
We've been helping to save lives for more than 135 years, with more advanced monitoring centers than anyone else in the business. That's important when seconds matter. We also bring you more of tomorrow's technology right here today, and more value, 24/7 monitoring against burglary, fire, and high levels of carbon monoxide, starting at just over $1 a day.
I wish I had ADT.
I'm glad we had ADT. Get ADT installed for just $99, and ask about ADT Pulse, Advanced Home Management, here today. ADT, always there.
Back in New York with Houston, number 26 on the clock now. Who do we like best, Mel?
You thought Glenn maybe to Pittsburgh. I don't think they thought DeCastro would be there, so Glenn's still available now. Merciless, the pass rusher, he'll come off the board pretty soon. You think about Harrison Smith, the best safety behind Mark Barron and Kobe Fleener. Andrew Luck's go-to option with the Cardinals.
The Houston Texans at long last made the playoffs last year, winning the South, winning their opening playoff game at 10-6. Now where do they go?
With the 26th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Whitney Merciless, linebacker, Illinois.
Well, they lost Mario Williams and D'Amico Ryans, not to mention the tackle Winston. So uneasy is the head that wears the crown. But you talk about an improvement in defense. Wade Phillips taking over last year. Now how much the Texans improved. Second overall in total D. And now, if there's ever a name for a defensive player, it would be Whitney Merciless. That's what Houston hope he's going to be, Coach.
We had no mercy on the Big Ten. He led the nation in tackles, led the nation in forced fumbles, and led the Big Ten in tackles for loss. 1 year of production. Here he is rushing inside in the nickel, which I really like about him, Mel. He's not a one-dimensional outside rusher. He can go inside and mismatch you against certain guards, much like Aldon Smith did last year at Missouri before the 49ers took him. He needs to improve in the briar patch. Runs right at him. He's got to become a more all-around run defender. I think he can do that. A relentless motor. Spent a lot of time with Ron Zook, the former coach of the Illini, in the offseason. This kid has a huge upside. I like the pick at this point in the draft.
Natural pass rush moves, natural pass rush instincts. Question is, why did it take till this year? He had 2 sacks going in. This year, 16 sacks, 9 forced fumbles. 1 year wonder, but this 1 year was special for Whitney Merciless.
And remember, in Houston, they did all that with their third-string quarterback after they got Matt Schaub coming back next year. They should be excited, these Texans. Cincinnati next.
The clue should be here. Anything?
Over here. I found it.
It's an audio file.
Hey guys, the next challenge. Coordinates are north of...
OnStar, this is Pam.
Got some coordinates for you?
Downloading directions now.
32 highway MPG-rated GMC Terrain. The only thing more amazing than its technology
picture file
is what you can do with it. The 2012 Terrain from GMC.
I love cash back.
With the Bank of America Card Cash Rewards credit card,
We earn more cash back for the things we buy most.
1% cash back. Everywhere, every time.
2% on groceries.
3% on gas, automatically. No hoops to jump through, no annual fee.
That's 1% back on... Wow. 2% on my homemade lasagna.
3% back on road trip.
Get 1, 2, 3% cash back. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Castrol Edge is tested and perfected to be our strongest oil, no matter what you put it through. Castrol Edge. It's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Hello, it is I, your boss. Great news. The video call went very, very well. Asia is on board. Too bad you couldn't participate. Probably you were worried about overages on that limited data plan you use. Perhaps you shouldn't have uploaded so many vacation photos. These shorts are for a younger person, wouldn't you say?
Why limit your iPhone? Switch to Sprint, the only network with truly unlimited data for your iPhone.
The Manchester Derby. After City lay down the gauntlet, United fought back. Now can the noisy neighbours regain control of the title race? City versus United, 2:30 Monday on ESPN and ESPN3.
The NBA's second season, where 16 wins separate the great from the immortal.
That's what we're talking about.
A champion will rise. The NBA playoffs on ESPN and ABC. Tip-off Saturday.
Welcome back, everybody, to New York. We're in a fast and furious first round. New England has picked twice in the first round. Cleveland has picked twice in the first round. 4 picks in Ohio in the first round because even though they traded down, the Cincinnati Bengals are now picking in the number 27 slot for the second time. The Bengals earlier in the draft picked Dre Kirkpatrick, the cornerback from Alabama. So here are remember, 3 teams out of 4 in this division made the playoffs. The Bengals had a marvelous year. Andy Dalton, top of the second round quarterback, was a leader. They hit big with the wide receiver Green. Benson is a question, although they have Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis from the Patriots. Benson is out on the team at the moment. And, of course, they play defense for Marvin Lewis. They made the playoffs and nobody saw that coming. Credit the Bengals.
You know, Mike Brown has never drafted a guard in the first round, ever. This might be the year because somebody has to block Haloti Ngata. And last I checked, the Bengals have 2 new guards, Trevell Wharton, they picked up from Jacksonville, and Jacob Bell. Cordy Glenn, Kevin Zeitler, I think could really help this football team inside.
The Bengals.
With the 27th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Kevin Zeitler, guard, Wisconsin.
And there you go. I think you know their offense, too, don't you, Coach?
I don't know anything about the draft process, though, Chris. I do know that Kevin Zeitler is another Wisconsin Badger that can come off the ball and do some things athletically. He can play in a zone scheme. He's an athletic puller. He can find his target. He can redirect. At the end of the day, he can thump you. I think the Bengals knew that the Ravens were looking at Zeitler later in this round to replace Ben Grubbs. But we already talked about the lack of guards on the Bengal football team. Andy Dalton needs firm protection so he can step up in the pocket. Zeitler is a good athlete. He's not an elite athlete, but he is an every down wrecking machine that works to finish.
What do we say about Gabe Brady last year? A mauler. That's what Kevin Zeitler is. A true mauler, powerful in the upper body. Really loves the battle, scratching claw. Gets the most out of his talent. Limited a little athletically. But I'll tell you what, he played at a very high level, and there were a lot of teams in the late first round that were on this kid and wanted him to be part of their offensive line.
And he says he's a great athlete. If he can do a backflip like Jerome Simpson, then we got some story going for a Badger up front. All right, now, Green Bay, Baltimore, San Francisco, Denver, and the Giants, and that's it. That's what's left in the fastest first round we can ever remember. We'll be back to New York in a moment.
I'm going to lunch.
Those days are gone now.
Think about what you are doing.
I'm going with her. I don't want to be chicken. I want to eat it.
Put an end to the working lunch and work on eating lunch. McDonald's all-white meat premium chicken sandwich and the juicy 100% Angus third pounder. It's your lunch. Take it. The simple joy of lunch.
Every luxury car claims to be somehow greater than the sum of its parts. But how about one that's smarter?
The Lincoln MKZ, ranked the most dependable car in its segment 3 years running by J.D. Power & Associates. Visit your Lincoln dealer now for this attractive lease offer, plus $1,000 competitive Conquest cash.
Now it gets interesting.
Welcome to business as usual on the IBM Smart Cloud. A small lab in Berlin is using supercomputing to fight cancer. An industrial city in China is becoming a high-tech hub in under 4 years. Britain's building a smart grid to help cut emissions by 80%. Even an independent studio in Malaysia can produce big-time blockbusters.
Transforming business through the cloud. That's what I'm working on. I'm an IBMer. Let's build a smarter planet.
Wow, the car looks great. Just show me the Carfax.
I've got something even better than Carfax. A seal of approval. Ta-da!
That's not what we need. You want to see the accidents and service records reported to Carfax and a price based on the car's history.
You're right. Just show me the Carfax.
If there's something fishy, you know it.
Before you buy a used car, just say, show me the Carfax. Ask your dealer or go to Carfax.com.
This sure is a crazy way to draw attention to .co domain names from GoDaddy.
Who won't notice a hot model in body paint?
True. She stands out like a hot new .co.
They definitely get you noticed.
That's why smart businesses go with .cos from GoDaddy.
Done. Wow. She looks great. But you know it'd be even hotter? If we painted you.
See a lot more now at GoDaddy.co.
Welcome back to the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light.
Back in New York with the Packers on the clock. Mel, let's look at your board.
You look at Courtney Upshaw, Crimson Tide. We talked about they were going to be the team to worry about in the first round. 4 first-rounders last year, maybe 5 this year. Upshaw still on the board. That combination, defensive end, outside linebacker. Peter Kahns, center, was Zeitler's teammate. Thought he might go a little higher. Zeitler got hot late in the process. Jonathan Martin, the blindside protector for Andrew Luck, still there. Finesse player, doesn't move defenders off the line of scrimmage well enough. That's why his stock has dropped as we move through the draft process.
Our Bud Light fan forum question from the Bud Light Facebook page comes, and there are Packer fans all over the place, including Ohio. Are there any offensive players the Packers should even consider? Well, we know they got receivers. We know they got the great quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they could use a running back, maybe a lineman here.
Center, they lost obviously well as you bring in Saturday.
For 1 year.
Running back, Doug Martin's out there from Boise State. Peter Kahn, center, Wisconsin. That's the only 2 offensive players at this point.
Better get a defensive player here.
Yeah, they gave up too many yards,
Way
despite
too many.
the fact they were 15-1, torched by the Giants in the opening round of the playoffs for them.
With the 28th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Nick Perry, linebacker, USC.
You know, outside linebacker, 3-4 defense is what his destination will be opposite Clay Matthews, who's another USC Trojan. This kid is a Detroit native, broke a high school record in Detroit with sacks, and at USC he has shown glimpses of speed off the corner. That's what this Green Bay Packer defense needs, Mel. Another pass rush threat opposite Clay Matthews.
An uneven career. You know, he was hot early, getting after the quarterback. Then he slipped back a little bit, and then this year came on. You think about fast. USC, talent-laden football team, one of the fastest players on that team. Ran a 4.5 at the combine. 35 reps, super strong in the upper body, very athletic, almost a 40-inch vertical, 38.5 vertical for a 6'3", 270-pounder. Green Bay, opposite Clay Matthews, got very little. 6 total sacks from everybody other than Clay Matthews at the outside linebacker spot. So they didn't get any productivity there. They needed help. Nick Perry, you thought Courtney Upshaw would be in the mix. They take Perry over Upshaw at this particular point in the first round. A little bit of a surprise there, but they were both kind of going and figured to go in this general area of the first round.
Well, they have to. I mean, they can't have Aaron Rodgers doing what he did and then get bumped in the first round for them. The divisional round of the playoffs because they can't stop anybody throwing the ball or rush the passer. So the Green Bay Packers off a 15-1 season go Nick Perry. Minnesota has traded to Baltimore's spot here at 29. I think because Zeitler and Hightower are gone. Baltimore hightailed out. It's the Vikings' turn when we come back.
Being a champion isn't about overcoming adversity. It's about romancing that adversity until it's fallen in love with you and starts hinting about getting a dog together, maybe.
Are you ready for the most high-flying, hard-hitting, breakdancing, 3D pirate adventure of all time. The Pirates Band of Misfits, rated PG. In theaters everywhere tomorrow.
In the final round,
the audience choice ingredient?
Bud Light.
And here we go.
Looks like Chef Dubois is emulsifying the Bud Light into a foam. What's his competitor doing?
He appears to be having a really good time.
A Bud Light reduction for Dubois. And his opponent?
Also improvising nicely. Let's see that again.
Judges.
I like the use of the pressure cooker to tenderize the beef.
But also the use of the cell phone to order the pizza.
It's the sure sign of a good time. It's just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Sorry, Chef, we're gonna need more ingredient.
When it comes to delicious pizza creations, Pizza Hut never stops striving to bring you greatness. That's why we created the Cheesy Bites Pizza. We surrounded your favorite pizza with 28 cheese-filled miracles of taste, made to pull, dip, and pop. Get a large one-topping Cheesy Bites pizza for just $11.99, only at your Pizza Hut. Make it great.
You could take Tom Brady away from the Patriots and they can still go 11-5.
There's no doubt that he wins games.
Tebow, are you kidding?
But I don't think he's done enough to show that he belongs.
How is he on the list? How'd you make the list? He's a phenomenal player, but he didn't play this year.
The debate has begun. Who is the best player in the NFL today?
I'm an idiot if I don't say Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
The NFL's top 100 players of 2012, exclusively on NFL Network.
It was a long meeting.
Brutal.
Hey, Travis. What's up? Hey, how you guys doing?
Didn't even wait for the confirmation.
No fear.
Welcome back, everybody, to New York, where now the Minnesota Vikings have made a trade to move into the slot, number 29 overall, held by Baltimore. Vikings with the 4th overall pick earlier picked Matt Khalil, the big tackle from USC. And now the Vikings move up. Baltimore gets the early 2nd-round pick owned by the Vikings, and they pick up a 4 for doing so. So now here's Minnesota, who, remember, to recap, we told you about Khalil. They had Christian Ponder now to start the whole season at quarterback, 2nd-year QB, hoping Adrian Peterson is healthy enough to play October-ish, November-ish football with his ACL surgery. One of the most exciting players and best players in the league, but thunderous, and he got hurt right at the end of the season. Here comes the commissioner, and here come the Vikings.
Baltimore has traded the 29th pick to Minnesota. With the 29th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Harrison Smith, defensive back, Notre Dame.
Well, the Vikings had to do something to improve their secondary play. They gave up 34 touchdown passes. Harrison Smith, the 2nd-best safety in this draft, a former outside linebacker who moved to the safety position the last 2 years in South Bend, had some deep ball production, had 3 interceptions against the Miami Hurricanes 2 years ago in the Sun Bowl. Here he is in a 2-deep shell, breaking off and making a nice play on Kirk Cousins. He can come up and fill the alley. He's a solid tackler. I don't think he's got a lot of rare traits, Mel, but he's a 2-time captain at Notre Dame. He's had a lot of production and experience, and I think he's going to be a reliable, heady football player that can really help the Vikings, who were horrific in pass coverage last year and also really struggled covering kicks. Harrison Smith's a good pick.
John, 2 years ago, he was a ball hawk. This year, you think about the Michigan State game, he saved the day there, didn't have the picks though, but a captain, productive kid, and the 2nd-best safety in a terrible safety crop. So if you didn't get Harrison Smith and you needed a safety, you aren't going to get a quality player who could maybe push for a starting job or be a starter this year for you.
First time 2 Notre Dame players have gone in the 1st round since '94. Bryant Young, who was one of the best, and Aaron Taylor. San Francisco, Denver, and the Giants. The Niners, they're back, and we'll be back.
Yeah! That just happened! Yes, it did. No! Yes, 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 yes! Yes! We did it! Yes, we did! Yeah, we did it! See you, bud.
Later.
Honey, who was that?
Who, that guy? I don't know.
Get caught up in the excitement. Buffalo Wild Wings. More wings, more beer, more sports.
Hey, who's this?
The Capital One Cup congratulates the elite teams and top performances in college athletics. Congratulations to all the NCAA Division I Fall National Champions. These student athletes have fought their hardest to make this a memorable sports season, with 2 more seasons of NCAA Division I college sports to go. Follow your school and check the standings at CapitalOneCup.com to see who will win the Capital One Cup and be the best in men's and women's college sports.
Until the world can live in peace. Until natural disasters no longer strike. Until freedom can protect itself. Until that day, the men and women of America's Navy stand ready to answer the call. America's Navy, a global force for good.
What's that? You got Mommy a Mother's Day present?
Oh, I totally agree. She's the best mommy ever.
Save up to 30% on these diamond fashions for Mom at Kay, the #1 jewelry store in America.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
When you have cable and your picture freezes, you get irritable. When you get irritable, your work suffers. When your work suffers, the wrong man is convicted. When the wrong man is convicted, he has time to think. When he has time to think, he thinks about you a lot. And when he thinks about you a lot, your house explodes. Don't have your house explode. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
This Friday.
Edgar Allan Poe, you are the inspiration of a horrendous crime.
Every tale by the original master of horror will be brought to life.
Why are you doing this to me?
The Raven, rated R. Friday.
ESPN's coverage of the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light, is brought to you by the Capital One Cup. Learn more and check the standings at CapitalOneCup.com. America's Navy, a global force for good. And Kay Jewelers, every kiss begins with K.
Welcome back to New York, everybody, with the 30th overall pick. After 2 decades of winning football, 9 non-playoff years ended last year for San Francisco with a bang. 13-3 and a tough loss in the championship game. Now they're on with the commissioner.
With the 30th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select A.J. Jenkins, wide receiver, Illinois.
Well, the position certainly doesn't surprise. Crabtree, let's go here. You know, if they could have had anything on the outside against the Giants, they would have been in the Super Bowl. But the player might surprise at wide receiver, Mel.
Well, he hasn't been in any first-round projections, but he was an early second-rounder. He was projected to go anywhere between, say, 33 and 40, early day 2 pick. So it's not a shocker boom that he was picked here when you consider he could have gone maybe 7 picks later. Okay. But the bottom line is productivity and skill set. You put it together, 6'1.5", 188 pounds, around a 4.37. So you talk about the skills he brings to the table, can beat any cornerback vertically, has great hands. I don't think he played to the level of those computer numbers, not as explosive out of his clutch as I thought he should have been. Had to adjust to some poorly thrown balls, did that. Talk about in the return game can help you. Size, speed, 38.5 vertical, 90 catches. But I would have liked to have seen that average per catch instead of 14 be 18, but you can blame some of that on the fact they didn't have the great quarterback throwing the football.
You can blame a lot of it on that fact. And I don't really care what anybody says where he's projecting. This kid is fast. He's an academic, all Big Ten performer, and he's made a lot of plays, 1,300 yards this year against Illinois.
Well, they're certainly kicking the tires at wide receiver. They have Mario Manningham out of the Giants. They're trying Randy Moss. And now they've drafted A.J. Jenkins. Tampa Bay has traded up to Denver's spot, which was New England's spot. We'll be back.
This is the reinvented police officer. He's also a masseuse.
These are reinvented curtains. They are made of pizza. The reinvented DMV. It's a little nicer.
Next!
And this is the reinvented Camry with available streaming music, a newly refined interior, and class-leading MPG from Toyota.
Now.
So what do we run at? 149.
Not bad, huh?
Contraband delivers.
Open the container!
Mark Wahlberg is at his best.
You think you're the only guy with a gun?
Contraband. Only this week at a great low price.
I'm going to lunch.
Those days are gone now.
I'm going with her.
I don't want to be chicken. I want to eat it.
McDonald's all-white meat premium chicken sandwich and the juicy 100% Angus third pounder. It's your lunch. Take it.
As my world turns, the heart beats. Not only in my chest, but the heart in the street. So when they feel this, they feel me. But I can't feel nothing outside the great beat.
And he's got it! What a catch! This is why this kid is so special. This place is going crazy.
Every communications provider is different, but CenturyLink is committed to being a different kind of communications company.
Do what you want when you want to. We all have time with a different kind of connection.
We link people in Fortune 500 companies nationwide and around the world, and we will continue to free you to do more and focus on what matters.
Yeah, link up and go now. Link up and go now.
After the majesty and spectacle of WrestleMania, here comes
Lesnar and Cena going at it.
the pain.
Absolute chaos.
Brock Lesnar has returned to the WWE to face John Cena. Brock versus Cena. WWE Extreme Rules. Live this Sunday on DirecTV pay-per-view.
Welcome back to Radio City Musical and the Bud Light Team Report.
And you've been talking about Doug Martin, running back from Boise State. Well, the Buccaneers traded up into the first round into Denver Broncos spot and took Doug Martin, the running back. A perfect compliment to LeGarrette Blount, the big pounder, for Greg Schiano in his first year for the Buccaneers.
And Mort, the Denver Broncos still have not made a pick for their team or for Peyton Manning, but they now have picked up an extra second-round pick, number 36 from Tampa Bay. They picked up an extra fourth-round pick from New England, and Denver is ready to attack the draft on Friday night, Boom.
All right, guys, thank you very much. And so, well, Tampa's on the clock, and what they do is Denver gets Tampa's high, too, 36 overall. Then they swap fours with Denver improving 25 spots in the fourth round. So, look, this would be two Boise State players, if that's the case, in the first round for quite a program. And you thought a second running back and probably Martin would get in here and one if that's the case. And look, Tampa needs that. I mean, LeGarrette Blount, when he's healthy, looks pretty darn good, but Tampa was a team that lost, 10 games at the end of the season? They couldn't move them. They need any sort of help for Josh Freeman.
Well, LeGarrette Blount is a good runner, but he really struggles in every other area.
Right.
Protecting the passer, playing on third down has been a problem. The thing I like about Doug Martin, he can play in any situations. He's a very good all-purpose back, and you have to have backs that know who to block with all these blitzes.
And Blount had a fumbling problem as well this year. So Schiano, he had Ray Rice, he had Brian Leonard, wants to pound the football. Thought he even had interest in Trent Richardson, didn't get him. Now you get Martin.
Denver has traded the 31st pick to Tampa Bay. With the 31st pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Doug Martin, running back, Boise State.
Well, you have two guards, two of the highest-priced guards in football. They get Carl Nicks from Green Bay. They have Davin Joseph. It's a pretty darn good offensive line, and Doug Martin does everything well. He can run between the tackles, he has perimeter speed, and he's made, surprisingly, a lot of long runs. I've seen him carry the ball in two-back sets. He carries the ball in the shotgun. He's an outstanding receiver, very good on the perimeter after he catches a screen pass. He's a perfect kind of Buccaneer back to complement what they don't have. A kid that can play on every down. He's a deluxe special teams player, Mel. He even played on defense early in his career at Boise State. Tampa Bay has added 2 outstanding football players in the first round. Mark Barron from Alabama and Doug Martin, the muscle hamster from Boise State.
You go running back to defensive back, then back to running back, and you put up the numbers he did. 28 catches out of the backfield. You think about the way he runs, he finishes, runs hard, can catch, willing blocker. He's not flashy, he's not dynamic, but he moves the chains. And I'll tell you what, when you think about a kid 5'9", 220, ran 4.47 at the combine, 28 reps, that strength of the upper body that he has, unlike any other running back in this draft outside of Trent Richardson, and a 36 vertical, very athletic. So this thing has attacks defenders and showed the ability on numerous occasions to bust the long gainer.
2,500 yards in the last 2 years for Coach Peterson and the Broncos of Boise State, and now all of a sudden, we just started this thing, didn't we? The Super Bowl champion New York Football Giants and their fans are on the clock with the final pick in round 1 when we return.
People everywhere are raving about the new Doritos Locos Tacos. Oh, sweet mercy, posted Maggie Crispin. So bomb, tweeted at Kim RZKX. I burst into tears, yo, raves Brave 2009. And according to Tony J, it's like kissing a unicorn on a pot of gold. The new Doritos Locos Tacos. Sometimes you gotta live mas.
Okay, look, when gas prices jump, you still gotta work. So suddenly you're cutting back on everything from family vacations to cell phone minutes. Well, here's a thought. How about cutting back on gas? Here's how. The Ford F-150. It gets 23 highway miles per gallon. That's the best. So you can get the job done and get a break at the pump. Yeah, how's that sound? This is the future. This is the Ford F-150.
No matter how many big tricks he has pulled off, making his debut in the Nationwide Series will be Travis's toughest test yet.
Green flag at Richmond.
Because here, he's just another rookie with something to prove. But then again, this is Travis Pastrana, and he's no ordinary rookie. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Richmond, tomorrow at 7 on ESPN2.
Every communications provider is different, but CenturyLink is committed to being a different kind of communications company.
Do what you want when you want to. We all have time with a different kind of connection.
We link people in Fortune 500 companies nationwide and around the world, and we will continue to free you to do more and focus on what matters.
Yeah, link up and go now. Link up and go now.
Before the miraculous returns, before the inspirational resumes, before the NFL season even begins, comes the deal you won't want to miss.
Did he catch it? Yes, he did!
This season, get NFL Sunday Ticket at the lowest price in almost a decade.
Unbelievable!
Watch every game every Sunday for less, only on DirecTV. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/NFL to order now.
Makes it interesting, John.
And a welcome back, everybody, to New York, where it's time for our GMC Never Say Never moments for the New York Giants in Super Bowls against New England, underdog both times. Who can forget Eli Manning to David Tyree with the bubble gum on the helmet? And then to Plexico Burress in the final minute to win 17-14 in the desert. Then 4 years later, Tom Coughlin, he can't coach, get him out. Yeah, no, they're right in the Super Bowl again, trailing the Patriots. Eli Manning to Mario Manningham with a great play on the sideline. Then Ahmad Bradshaw with the touchdown, and it was over. The Giants won 21-17, again upending the Patriots last February in Indianapolis. And so the New York Giants picking last. Tom Coughlin having set a record for most times being fired without ever having been fired. and has 2 Super Bowl rings to show for it. The New York Giants and general manager Jerry Reese comes up with the Victor Cruzes of the world who never was drafted. So the Giants, who missed the playoffs 2 years ago at 10-6, win the division and win the Super Bowl at 9-7, and now we're drafting 32. So the Giants, look, they're running it. It's funny. The Super Bowl champ, and then you look at stuff, okay, running game, dead last, 32. Pass defense, almost one of the worst, 29. And then you tear it up and you say, well, wait, the Vince Lombardi trophy is right where it should be, at the Vince Lombardi service area, right here on the New Jersey Turnpike. What should the Giants do here?
I think they'd like to get another weapon for Eli Manning, but it makes sense to me, Mel, to take an offensive lineman here. There's a couple pretty good players on the board. Jonathan Martin, the big left tackle from Stanford. Cordy Glenn started 50 games for the Georgia Bulldogs. Bobby Massey from Ole Miss. David Deal went outside and played left tackle when Beatty got hurt last year. Beatty's been a disappointment. I think the Giants could help themselves by taking an offensive lineman.
I agree with you, John. There's 3 offensive linemen, as you talked about. We're all projected maybe to go in the first round. Certainly running back with Doug Martin gone, you think they'll go away from that position. I agree with you. I think the offensive line, and then Kobe Fleener. Remember we talked about the Colts maybe getting him an early second to hook up with Luck. Oh, he won't be there. He won't get to the second. Kobe Fleener for the Indianapolis Colts, early in the second round tomorrow. If he's still there, we'll see. The Giants, he thought he might be in play for them as well.
You think if Martin, the running back from Boise State, the Tampa just jumped up to take, was still there, the Giants would look at him?
Have to consider him. Now, they've done well at running back. 4th round with Jacobs, late rounds with Bradshaw. So maybe that's their philosophy. Hey, we can get a running back down the line.
Of course, we should remind everybody, Brandon Jacobs and Mario Manningham are now signed with the San Francisco 49ers. Really the offseason move that the Giants made to bring in Keith Rivers, a one-time first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. Injured, never quite, but he's now a Giant as a linebacker. And that really was what they did in a season where Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin said, well, we now got 2 Super Bowls. We're still at the primes of our careers. Both of them, even though Tom is the oldest coach in the business. So the Giants and their fans are waiting. You know, they were outscored last year. I mean, it's just. But boy, in the playoffs, there was no outscoring them. G-Men, here it is.
With the 32nd pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the world champion New York Giants select David Wilson, running back, Virginia Tech.
There is the running back, right? Jacobs gone, Bradshaw also hurt some. So right at the end, we have running backs 2 and 3 go in the first round.
Had Wilson going to the Giants last pick in the second, they take the last pick in the first. So it's a little early. You thought maybe with Wilson, he doesn't block that well. He's a speed guy. Johnny's an athletic guy. You watched him on film. You broke him down. He can make some things happen. Very athletic. Talk about a 41-inch vertical jump. This kid can fly. Think about all-around play. Can he do it? He had some fumbling problems. Ball security at Virginia Tech was an issue. He knows it, and he knows he has to change that in the NFL. But the talent is in abundance with David Wilson if he can kind of round off his game just a bit.
I like David Wilson. 1,700 yards. He had 22 catches. He's also an outstanding kickoff returner. David Wilson will give the Giants another back that they can line up in a lot of different formations. They like to go with that no-back set, throw the ball to Ahmad Bradshaw. Here's a kid, Wilson, a couple years ago that did catch the ball and prove he could do it out of the backfield. And if you haven't seen him jump yet, this kid can do about 13 somersaults. I can't wait till he scores. You got Victor Cruz doing that salsa dance, and you got David Wilson doing these flips. He's a triple jump track champion, rare athlete, and a good kid. And Tom Coughlin knows what he's looking for.
So there it is. I mean, Mel, did we even get started here? 3 hours.
Guess we'll do the second round.
We used to have first rounds that took 6 hours. This was a delight. We'll be back to talk about what happened, what might happen tomorrow in rounds 2 and 3. We got more from Radio City Music Hall. A record-breaking first round.
When it comes to delicious pizza creations, Pizza Hut never stops striving to bring you greatness. That's why we created the Cheesy Bites Pizza. We surrounded your favorite pizza with 28 cheese-filled miracles of taste made to pull, tip, and pop. Get a large one-topping Cheesy Bites pizza for just $11.99, only at your Pizza Hut. Make it great.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium AA batteries now last up to 9 times longer versus Energizer Max, which means up to 9 times less waste. Improved Energizer Ultimate Lithium. That's positive energy.
Goodyear, for drivers like these who demand the most from their tires. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
When you have cable and can't find something good to watch, you get depressed. When you get depressed, you attend seminars. When you attend seminars, you feel like a winner. When you feel like a winner, you go to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, you lose everything. And when you lose everything, you sell your hair to a wig shop. Don't sell your hair to a wig shop. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
How do you trade? With Scottrader's streaming quotes, any way you want. Fully customize it for your trading process. From thought to trade, on every screen. And all in real time. Which makes it just like having your own trading floor right at your fingertips.
At Scottrade, $7 trades are just the start. Try our easy-to-use Scottrader streaming quotes. It's another reason more investors are saying, I'm with Scottrade.
Whatever speed you want to go, one mower will match your pace. Personal pace technology, only from Toro.
Welcome back to the 2012 NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light.
Well, in New York, we have never had this fast a first round, not since maybe it was a 12-team league. 3 quarterbacks selected in the first 8 picks. Luck, RG3, and Tannehill, 4 in all with Brandon Weeden. 4 Alabama players went in the first round. There were 8 trades made in the first round. Quarterback, wide receiver from Baylor and Oklahoma State went. 2 Notre Dame first-rounders for the first time since '94. Boise State had only had 2 first-rounders in the history of their program till tonight, and they had 2 all told. You know what? I'm going to have to review this thing with John and Mel when we come back in a moment.
What? You got a dog?
Yeah, he's a rescue dog. Name's Wego.
What kind of name is that?
Call him.
Here we go.
No. Yep.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Thank you. Here we go.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Call Dave.
This is Dave.
Hey, just got off work. The conditions are looking pretty good.
With standard color touch radio system, Bluetooth connectivity, and backup camera, the 32 highway MPG GMC Terrain. The only thing more amazing than this technology is what you can do with it. Lease this 2012 GMC Terrain for $269 a month. A 2012 Terrain from GMC.
On my orders, the G.I. Joes were terminated with extreme prejudice.
We're all that's left.
What if the president isn't the president?
We are the only ones who can stop it.
We have to assume that there's no one we can trust.
There is one man. General.
Call me Joe.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN.
This week, it's a playoff rematch between Tampa Bay and defending AL champion Texas on baseball's biggest stage. Sunday Night Baseball, Rays Rangers at 8 on ESPN.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. You just know it's a special show.
Huge.
Carl Ravitch has dropped by the SportsCenter Top 10 room. Those of you watching the draft, not to worry. We've been watching everything else.
Right. Levy drafted me. We also have been getting your tweets during the night. Hashtag SC Top 10. We'll have all the great plays. There were a bunch of them.
SportsCenter coming up. Back in the first round.
ESPN's coverage of the 2012 NFL Draft is presented by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go. And in part by GMC, the official vehicle of the NFL. And the new film, G.I. Joe Retaliation, June 29th. This film is not yet rated.
Back in New York, I mean, it's just 10 minutes past 11 Eastern. It's not even dinner time in Hawaii. And we're done with the first round, a new speed record. A lot of things happen, though. Quarterbacks flying. Coach, your impressions of round one?
I like Melvin Ingram going to San Diego. I thought that was the pick of the night for me.
In New England, you got to improve your defense. You get two players, Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower.
We have plenty more thoughts coming up here, but SportsCenter never expected to be on at this time. Steve and Carl had to hustle into the studio to get ready. For Mel Kiper and John Gruden and all of us here in New York, thanks for watching round one of the draft. SportsCenter next. See you shortly.
Hi, welcome to the show. I see the Levy Lounge over there.
Oh,
which
yeah.
means I'm here with Steve Levy. I am Carl Ravitch, and since trades dominated the NFL draft, I was dealt for Baseball Tonight to SportsCenter for a future draft pick. Very low round.
Dare I say even conditional, Ravi, so we'll see how the next 90 minutes go. Barry Melrose waiting patiently to break down 2 Game 7s, including one of which is going to overtime. But as always, the NFL is king. Let's get those Colts off the clock.
Right, and this was a huge shock. Good luck to Andrew Luck. He follows in the footsteps of Peyton Manning as the Colts make Luck the #1 pick in the 2012 draft and believe he's as prepared a passer to come out of college since Manning left Tennessee. Luck, of course, played at Stanford like Elway and Plunkett and was told last week by the Colts he'd be their guy. He's the 4th quarterback to be taken #1 by the Colts. He joins Elway, Jeff George, and Manning. This marks the 12th time in 15 years a quarterback's gone with a top pick. Stanford becomes the first school to have 4 different QBs taken with the 1st overall pick.
Oh, it was great. It was everything I've ever thought it would be. You know, I just feel so blessed, so fortunate to be in this situation, and can't wait to start with the Colts. I hope for the best. We'll come in, work hard. I know there's a lot of great guys in the locker room already, and I feel so honored, so grateful to be able to represent the city now and be a part of the team.
Well, Luck's name is announced. The always vocal Radio City crowd chanting RG3 over and over for the Heisman Trophy winner. The Baylor standout QB goes #2 overall to the Redskins. Washington trades this year's 2nd-round pick, couple of #1s to assure they'd get either RG3 or Luck if the Colts didn't take him.
The plan is to go in day one and show the veterans that I'm there to work, not for show. A lot of things you have to do in the league are business-like, but I want to show them that I'm all for them. I'm looking forward to winning football games and joining the team. Go catch that dream, because a lot of times when you chase something, you never catch it. So if you say, hey, I'm going to go catch my dream, you're already telling yourself that you're going to get it. And that's the message to all the kids out there.
Yes, he did have the wild socks on, and on the socks it said, go catch that dream. 5th time in the common draft era, the quarterbacks go 1 and 2. Did you know there was a common draft era?
Yes.
This is it.
An uncommon draft.
It hasn't happened since '99 when the Browns took Tim Couch, followed by the Eagles taking Donovan McNabb. It also happened in '71 when the great Jim Plunkett, another Stanford standout, went 1st overall. One Redskins note, they've used 21 different quarterbacks over the last 19 years. They hope that RG3 has some staying power. The Browns traded up to #3 to get Trenton Richardson. The Browns had an NFL low 4 rushing TDs last year. They lost Peyton Hillis in free agency. They hope he can run a lot. After trading down, the Vikings grabbed offensive lineman Matt Khalil. The last 3 O-linemen taken by the Vikings in the 1st round reached the Pro Bowl. Ooh, I can hear the death bells ringing on that one. We'll have more on that later. The Jaguars moved up from 7th to take OK State receiver Justin Blackman with the 5th pick. Marks the 4th time in the common draft era that each of the top 5 picks were offensive players. The first defensive player taken at 6, the Cowboys gave up the 14th overall pick, a 2nd rounder to take cornerback Morris Claiborne. He was using the towel. It must have been hot.
in that room there.
Hot in this room.
Yes, it is. At number 7, SEC, we stay there. Alabama defensive back Mark Barron goes to the Bucs. Tampa Bay's pass defense wasn't good. They were 29th in touchdowns allowed last year. And at 8 overall, here we go. The Dolphins take quarterback Ryan Tannehill. He's the first A&M quarterback ever taken in the first round.
It takes my breath away. You know, it's to see my name on the back of an NFL jersey in an organization like the Miami Dolphins, I couldn't be more excited.